Chiquita! Come here, girl.
There is no spoon. There is no spoon.
There is no spoon. There is no spoon.
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon. There is no spoon.
A thumbnail-sized little devil frog must return to feed on the forest floor, leaving her young exposed to the predators that hunt around bromeliad pools. But Mum has a plan. She gorges on tiny, poisonous ants. But this ingenious frog can assimilate ant toxins into a much more potent compound, making her skin fatal to the touch. Now she needs to pass her poison power to her young. In each pool, she lays a single unfertilized egg, laced with neurotoxins. And as the tadpoles eat, poison releases from the egg and floods the nursery pool.
Oh, are we here? Are we live? Hello, beauties and bees. Let me know how I sound, too. Always doing sound checks with y'all live in the audience. Isn't that professional of me? I don't got anybody else to do a sound check with, though, so give me a break. Y'all are my people. Y'all are my team. So thank you. Thank you, Hive crew, because we couldn't do this production without you. Hey, I hope everybody's okay. I hope you like spicy food. My mouth likes spicy food. Bree's tummy does not. So if you want me to spend a lovely evening, maybe an overnight sleepover, a little slumber party with the toilet, then give me all the spicy food you want. But if you want me to be in the slumber party in the room with the rest of the girls having the pillow fight, you're gonna need to give me a blander palate. And maybe that's my white girl shortcoming. But spicy food hits me hard. All right. I realized that also in the side chat. I just realized the option to spray bug bot is gone. I need to fix that because right now you can only swat him away. When you swat him away, it only sends him away for 30 seconds. You can't. Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to. There's a cooldown if you swat him away. But if you sprayed him, it would put him down for 5 minutes. But I digress. I need to reset it up because it's not even on there anymore. And that's how everything was set up. Thank you, Jason. Jason is on the Hive payroll. Unfortunately, the Hive payroll is not in money. It's in blowed kisses because that's what I'm working with here, blowed kisses. So, yeah, if you are here, if you are able to make it in this morning, the more people that show up in here in the mornings, even if you don't watch it, like on Saturday mornings, if you don't watch it, like, oh, this Saturday I actually have to go do this or that. If you even put it on somewhere and just leave it, I appreciate it because the more people that turn up to actually see the show, right? The more YouTube wants to pay me. Right now, this and just a couple other things are all I have as income right now. Hopefully, that's going to change soon, but we will see. Yeah, I don't want to get too into existential crisis here in regards to that, but yeah. I was raised white, but only celebrate the holidays. Yeah. There's a few holidays that people like in the U.S. tend to celebrate that I don't. One of them is like I don't give a. I used to when I was younger. I don't give a rat's ass about Independence Day anymore. Like, what do I care whether one group of exploitive oligarchs wanted to seize control from another group of exploitive oligarchs and milk the wealth from the working class. What the fuck do I care about that for? Why would that matter to me? The founding fathers, the founding slave owners, the founding grapeist. Make sure you know I said grape there, like fruit. Yeah, fruit cocktail and stuff. Yeah, grapeist. Why would I care about that? Just it seems redundant to say, oh, this profit-driven leader is better than this profit-driven leader. I'm about to go on a socialist rant. Damn it, Bree, we don't have time this morning. Let me just try to cut it nice and short and sweet, right? So human society will never succeed until we start putting humans above capital. That's the difference between socialism and capitalism. It's right there in the name. Social is people. It's the people, right? Capital is the money, right? Society will only succeed when we put people first instead of capital. And I'll leave it there. And just to say that every system that we've tried so far, every system that's been implemented has always put capitalism first. Oh my God, I'm going to do it. The Soviets were capitalists. That's the silliest thing. People be like, "Oh, the Soviets were communists." No, they were capitalists. They had capital. The Russian ruble is a form of capital. It's not. They were not socialist. One of the key tenets of communism Well, no, I guess they were more socialist than, I meant to say they were not communist, right? But yeah, anyway, I'm going to shut up because I'm getting into this and we're here to talk about monsters, right? We're going to talk about monsters and magic swords today and giant man-eating lizards. And here I am talking about seizing the means of production. I need to lull you in first before I try to radicalize you. All right, because my alarm already went off and I haven't even done the. All right, so hello and welcome to Live from the Hive. It is November 29th, 8:46 a.m. Here in the mountain time in the land of enchantment where I happen to rest my head currently. We are looking at a cool November morning. Things are cooling down a bit here. What's the temperature right now? Let's look. Because New Mexico's colder than Arizona and stuff because it's got a higher elevation, right? We got like all the Sky Islands and stuff here. The current temperature. Oh, it's a pleasant 51 degrees outside. As I get older, my preferred temperature drops and drops and drops. Yeah, everybody's talking about the stuff. Let's get to the polls. Let's go look at the polls. Okay, first poll we're going to look at, I guess we don't have to go anywhere, but it's right here. It is this shirt keeps riding up in the back. I'm kind of worried I have it on backwards, but there's not really much difference to one side or the other. The first poll is what we got going on the side chat. I just wanted to know, how do we feel about the Alex Jones songs? I got 2 Alex Jones songs that I run regularly on the show. And I'll actually run one after the intro just for fun, but I'll run the one that won, the corn on the cob one. But we have corn on the cob, where I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I'll eat your ass. That song, that one's fun. And then we got the literal vampire potbelly goblin song, which is mostly about immigration and stuff. I'm angry. So sick of these people. That song. Talking about we're going to eat babies. It's wild. Good stuff. So it was pretty tight race. We had 58% for corn on the cob and 42% for goblins. Right. And we have two Ben Shapiro songs. One of my, or no, what we have is Ben Shapiro, Aquaman, and then we have Ben Shapiro, Wet Ass P Word. We could do a thing on that too, though, if we wanted to. But let's look at the show polls because we need to get going. All right, so this week in Weird, that's later in the show, so you got to stick around after Cryptic Corner for this one. We are actually, we got a pretty nice spread, honestly. We got the metaphysics of the magic lantern, right? So before projectors, this is like the proto projector. These things had a candle in them and everything. They were very fragile and very prone to start fires. But people at the time thought they were demonic. And there's folklore that built around that because they thought that there was no way that what you were seeing projected on the wall could be done naturally. It had to be done by the spirits, right? So the topic that kind of pulled up the tail end, and probably maybe because people didn't know what it was all about, was the metaphysics of the magic lantern. So we will have a video on that. Don't you worry. At some point, whenever it pops up on the poll. Now, Mystic Flowers has been on the poll for a little bit. Got 20% of the vote right now. We're gonna look at like flowers that are alleged to have like healing powers or to be used in some magic potion for this and that. That is science that are not scientifically recognized or don't scientifically have the properties that they're attributed. And then we got crystalline lithomancy. We're going to talk about, I believe with the video I have picked out for this, there was a couple of different options for crystal stuff. I had a video of a witch talking about the different crystals that and what powers they had. But I also haven't found a video like of woo crystal powered sorcerer technology, ancient technology, and aligning with the earth and ley lines and stuff like that. So I'll probably go with that when that one wins, because that just seems more fun than picking apart the folk myths about crystals. Because I actually people don't know this about me, but I consider myself like atheo-pagan or an atheist witch, right? Like I actually know that like the crystal doesn't have power, right? But I can use it as a symbolic thing for my brain, because I have a primitive monkey brain that likes folklore and mythology. Obviously, that's why I do that show. So I can hold a crystal in my hand and feel like it's helping me charge my spoons up to deal with people, for instance. Or when I worked at in the call centers and stuff, and someone's yelling at me on the phone, I can grab a hold of it and just hold on to it. And I'm that way psychologically, and I know how to work my brain, sort of. Well, I don't really know how to work my brain, which we're not going to get into that. I mean, anyway, so that crystal witch stuff has always been an interest of mine, and I know a lot of the folklore and stuff about it, and some medicinal stuff that we've come up with it comes from this sort of practice, right? Stuff we do with magnets and whatnot. But what won this week was cursed swords. And the thing about cursed swords is there's a lot of them. So this is going to be more than a one-parter. And despite the image I chose when I picked this, because I wasn't sure if I was going to do European or Viking swords, or if I was going to do Asian swords. And I decided to do Asian swords, which really doesn't match with the image, so I'm sorry about that. But that's what we're doing for our Week in Weird. And then for Cryptic Corner, I'm loving it today, because this is I just love that this is the one we're doing. Also, I started using the Christmas mugs. This is my paw la 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 la, because reindeers have paws, not hooves, apparently. I think their feet do look more like paws. But let's look at the other people on the list before we get to the winner, okay? Because we had like a 3-way split between all the remainders. So we got El Duindi, I think is how you say that, El Duindi, which is a Central and South American sort of sprite figure, malicious sprite figure. So hell yeah, we're gonna get into that. You all know I love myself some evil gnomes. The Maltese tiger, again, not from Malta, but called Maltese because the color, the Maltese blue. So, but the Maltese tiger is not really this blue, but we'll talk about that when we cover it. Obviously, we got Amityville reprise. So we're going to be visiting the Warrens again. So if you love to hate watch the Warrens, we'll be hammering there. But what won was Skunk Ape, which we're going to get into in just a moment. But if you want to participate in the polls, watch, what you do is you just come to the Hive side, like just the channel. Like when you get here, it's going to look something like this, right? I'm live right now, and you would see that too. It looks something like this. You're going to get suggestions and stuff. But if you look at this bar across the top, you can go to post, and you can see, I mean, I post a lot of stuff, but a lot of woo-woo stuff and Bigfoot stuff. But you just come on out to the polls, and you'll have an option to vote. It won't tell you what they are until after you vote, right? And if you're feeling really sassy, you can share the poll and get more people. Sometimes we get like a dozen or so people voting, and sometimes we get hundreds. It depends on how the algorithm picks it up. But I like more votes because it makes things more interesting. The problem is when the algorithm picks it up, only one group runs with it, right? Like when I had the last one that got a whole bunch of like hundreds was the one with Kuwasaki Ono, the slit-mouthed woman, and like a bunch of like presumably Japan people or Japanese fans were the ones that decided that that's what they wanted to see. But I think I look a little blurry. Is that better? That lighting's a little bright. I get headaches when the light's too bright, but I want you all to be able to see me back here, and I like being able to see my body because first it helps me be more expressive, and I'm sexy as fuck. Who wouldn't want to look at my sexy body? It's the best. It's the best thing I got going for me right now. It's this damn body. But I really don't care where your fingers have been. Lick that like button. Yeah, if you can help support the channel, that'd be awesome. All right, so we're gonna move into Cryptic Corner because it's that time. What I'm going to do though before that is I'm going to drop you the jam that you all picked in the last poll, and we're gonna listen to the sweet stylings of Alex Jones. See you in Cryptic Corner.
I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. My children aren't going hungry. I'll do it. I'll drink your blood. And I'm starting to think about having to eat my neighbors. You think I like sizing up? I'm gonna haul him up back chain. Chop his ass up, size it up. I'm gonna haul him up that chain. Chop, 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 chop. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I'll barbecue your ass flat. I will cook your ass up so fast, and I'll tell them, "Oh, I killed a cow out back, baby." You think Christ would eat somebody? He would never do that. I will. I'm ready to hang them up, gut them and skin them and chop them up. You know what? I'm ready. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat your ass. I will eat your leftist ass like corn on the cob. I'm ready. I will eat you. I will eat your ass. That's why I want the globalists to know. I will eat your ass first. I swear to God, if it's the last thing I do, I'm gonna get my hands.
Hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to another installment of Cryptic Corner, where we explore the unexplained, the supernatural, the paranormal and hidden, the mysterious, the alien, the accursed, and the forbidden. I'm your hostess, Miss Bumblebee. And today the polls have spoken, and we finally, after being on the polls for, I was on the poll for over 2 months, I know that. The Skunk Ape has finally seized the day. I don't know why the seizing the day was pulling testicles down, but it was. I don't feel like I have to explain myself. Okay? Anyway, the polls have spoken, as I said, and we are going to Florida. We are going to explore the skunk ape. Now, up until like last month or so, I had actually had a plan to go to Florida and to have some fun exploring the Skunk Ape Museum. This kind of fell through because economy. So, man, Florida is terrifying to me. I've just fled Texas. I'm not going to pop out of the fire and into the frying pan. But unfortunately that fell through. So I was saving this episode until after that was a thing in case I got to actually like go and show you all the museum and stuff live. But Skunk Ape, right? Skunk Ape is fun. Some people call it the Florida Bigfoot. I'm not one of these people because I don't like to think about Skunk Ape as a Bigfoot. You know? I think about Skunk Ape as an ape. It may be related to Bigfoot or maybe related to the other apes. The other non-human apes, I guess I should say. But I like to think of it as its own unique thing. But these people that in the Bigfoot community, they want to lump it all together as one. The sightings of skunk apes, especially the ones that we're going to look at today, are not describing a Bigfoot, in my opinion. Obviously, have your own opinions, right? You can tell me if you think that they're the same species. I don't think it sounds like it's the same species. If it's not describing the same species, the same phenomena, it's not describing the same creature. And there are some key differences anatomically. Tripping over my own tongue already. I need a drink. Anatomically and ecologically. But maybe sometimes they'll call these southern fried Bigfoot. And these are the ones that are on the t-shirts too. So if you got a CrypticCorner t-shirt, it's a southern Squatch. It's not a Pacific Northwest Squatch. I was saving that for a special release, which it'll probably be the same in a different color set, but words are hard, especially when you got a giant tongue like I do. Look at this thing. I'm basically Gene Simmons. It's freaking massive, and sometimes it tangles words up in my mouth. Swamp monkey! That's what I'm saying, Jason. Texas is different than Florida, too. You're Texas. Okay, yeah. Don't get me wrong, I loved El Paso. I loved that city. I loved Austin when I visited. I loved the Highlands when I passed through them. I'm a nature person. Obviously, I'm doing a show, but and I really enjoyed all the time. The only part of Texas I found boring was North Texas down to Dallas, which, in its defense too, I found it boring because it looks like where I grew up with just grassy rolling hills and little forests and stuff. It's kind of like the Shire I know, the same landscape that I'm used to. And Oklahoma's kind of the same too. Now you get East Texas and eastern, all the way up to Missouri. So there's swamp from like the steppes of the Ozarks in southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. There's swampland that runs all the way down to, there's all these rivers and stuff that converge there and dump into the Mississippi, and they just create this huge swampy environment. It's the northernmost range that gators live. There are not very many gators left there in East Texas and Arkansas, and definitely I don't think there's been a gator sighting in Missouri for over 100 years. But these swamps also, they run. I mean, they run through what they call creeks or creeks. They call them creeks, but we call it creeks in the northern part of the state. My dad, this culture runs up the Mississippi, so half of my family spoke like that, creeks and hollers, and y'all have heard me do the southern accent. Maybe I should do the southern accent the whole time while I do the Sasquatch video. Here I am calling it a Sasquatch when I just explained that I don't even think it's a Sasquatch. But what I'm talking about right now is mainly the folk monster, right? And if we consider that a Sasquatch, it lives all down through the southern United States. And if we consider it a Sasquatch, it would at least be its own unique haplogroup of Sasquatch, with unique characteristics for living in river bottoms, swamps, and marshes. Now, if you take that seriously, though, be different like phenotypes. Good morning, everybody dropping in. Dripping is as liberal as anywhere that I've been. Sure, there are the Trump rubbers, but not as many lefties. Yeah. I'm sorry, I just kept jumping on the comments. Anyway, we're looking at today's video is going to be Adventure, Explore, Discover. Right? And they're going, and it's the guy with the hat. That's why he's got the hat there. We've talked about him before. Yeah, here's his not deer video. I think that we didn't talk about him with not deer. He's like living dinosaur videos and stuff like that. I don't know if he's like a young earth creationist or what his deal is. I like his aesthetic. I like anybody who wears that, like an adventurer hat. That's why I liked Indiana Joe. I thought he was funny because he wore the hat. I like someone with a gimmick. I do the goth girl thing, so, or sometimes I do a clown. Yeah, actually, I mix it up a bit. I have like multiple personalities, so y'all get this one a lot. Well, I do have like a Barbie girl personality that pops up, and a chaotic clown personality that pops up. Maybe I should give them all accents to help distinguish them. Which accent would this character have? What accent should I speak in when I'm goth girl? All right. I think the southern accent. For some reason, I think it should go with the clown. I love the idea of a chaotic clown girl with a southern accent. She could be, I could lead into the rodeo clown stuff too, because I wear like the pink cowboy hat and stuff. Yeah. Hail Skunk Ape. Let's get into Skunk Ape, by the way. We'll revisit this channel, the main part of the channel after the video. But yeah, here's the Skunk Ape video, so we're going to pop into that. And we're talking about the Mayeka skunk ape photos, which were like debunked a long time ago. So anyway, let's let our boy talk. I'm gonna turn him up a little bit.
A strange, menacing creature had been stealing fruit from her back porch in rural Florida. Now, these are the chilling skunk ape photos that surfaced in 2000. These are the chilling skunk ape photos that surfaced in 2000, sent anonymously by a concerned senior citizen who claimed a strange, menacing creature had been stealing fruit from her back porch in rural Florida. Now, most photos like this are easy to dismiss. We've all seen the blurry, obviously fake hoaxes that popped up online. But here's where things get strange.
We can't hear the... Okay. Can you hear me now? I wish I'd never touched it. Like, I went in to mess with it to do the dual streaming, to try the dual streaming thing, and bumped everything around, and now, blah. You should be able to hear me now. Ba, ba, ba. Okay.
A video surfaced out of Mississippi showing what appears to be a similar creature in a bog or swamp type area, just a few hundred miles from where those original photos were taken.
Just a few hundred miles. Just a leisure day stroll away. They understand that these animals would have to, like, they move on foot and live in very isolated, select environments. Like, if you think about it, the way we drain to put in golf courses and crops and everything, the way we drain the swamp. Okay, everyone, let's take it from the top. Yeah, well, I was trying to do because, like, it puts the vertical streams in a different algorithm. That's what I was going for, to try to get more a bigger audience, because I'm trying to eat. That's my main thing. I'm just trying to get as many people to view the video as possible, so that YouTube pays me more, so I can get, like, squeeze in another meal. Yeah, but I get that people don't like the dual streaming, and I don't ever anticipate anybody to leave this audience to go, like, into a vertical stream. But it annoys me. It annoys me too when it's like that. But I never go into the vertical streams. Like, it's just not my thing. I don't watch vertical streams. I don't watch anything live vertically. Everything I watch live, I watch on my monitors. What I watch vertically is I'll watch pre-recorded videos. That's it. You can hate dual streams. It's okay. What I don't like dual streams is when they go to more than one channel. Vertical streams do attract trolls. Absolutely. That's true. And sometimes they're pretty volatile. Yeah, it's a new YouTube thing. There's like I'll show you all. I might like start a different thing that I do dual streaming and see how it goes, and not just like try to force it into this morning show until I understand it better. Like when I do something like what I did on Thursday, I might try to do some vertical streaming, because that would have been fun. I don't know if you all watched on Thursday night, but I did a stream about Bigfoot.
You probably heard your share of people trying to cash in on Bigfoot fame, guys claiming they made the Patterson Gimlin costume or that they were somehow involved in the staging of it. But when pressed, none of them can deliver solid proof. It's always hearsay and fading memories. So when I started digging into the Mayaka case,
Bro's a true believer too, like on everything. He watching this guy. I think we've covered him at least twice before, and he's a true believer. He goes up to bat for, like, all of this is real. Every single cryptid ever presented is actual factual. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Sumami. Did anybody else just pop in? Sandy, you're not going to get banned. You'll never get banned. Mwah. Love you. We don't always agree on everything all the time with anybody. So, dual streaming's like one of the things that I definitely agree that we should be able to disagree about. I don't like it either. I don't like having to try to figure out which one, like when somebody else does it, I don't like having to try to figure out. Don't figure out which one's vertical. Don't mute your stream. Like and share the stream instead. Yeah, this is going to take all kinds of editing. When I'm starting to wonder if I shouldn't edit out my interactions with you guys, like especially when we go off topic. When I publish these as standalones, I wonder if that would make them more palpable to rewatches.
I didn't expect to find much more than speculation, but instead, I found the full letter sent to the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office, a first-hand account that's much harder to ignore. And I came across something else too, a swamp-dwelling figure captured on camera in Mississippi that looks eerily similar to the skunk ape described 2 decades earlier. And if there's one thing that life has taught me, it's that once is an accident, twice is a coincidence, but 3 times, that's
I don't think the hold on.
An accident. Twice is a coincidence, but 3 times,
I don't think this thing looks anything like this thing, right? This thing's shoulders are up here. Its head's down forward, like a knuckle walker. Look at it. Its shoulders like this. Oh, I'm gonna do the sexy version. I look like something Frazetta would draw right now. Like the ape woman queen. I think they're the only time I've ever seen Frazetta draw it, or draw or paint or whatever you want to, whatever he did in the medium. I don't know. Design an ape woman was in. Was it Ice and Fire? Where the woman's kidnapped by the ape men. Anyway, yeah, it's like this. That's how it's built. And if you look at the thing in this video, which we'll get more into later on, it's definitely more upright. It's like not arching its back, but like up, like someone digging on something, and that's what it's doing. It's like digging. I think it's a bear, but we'll talk about why later on.
That's pattern. So today we're going to follow that pattern. First, we'll examine the original skunk ape photos, the handwritten letter that came with them, then we'll break down the Mississippi swamp ape footage and compare what we see. And finally, I'll show you a resource that might just make you question everything you thought you knew about
Is it the Invincible? Well done, sir. I love that. It's Invincible. Do I have any Invincible fans in the audience? You all like that animation? But this is what I'm talking about. Oh.
In the year 2000, a letter written by what sounds like to be a fearful senior citizen, as well as 2 photos.
That's not what I meant to do. Retired from smashing trolls. If the price is right.
Photos were sent into the Sarasota Police Department, and this is that letter. Dear Sir or Ma'am, enclosed, please find some pictures I took in late September or early October of 2000. My husband says he thinks it is an orangutan. Is someone missing an orangutan? It is hard to judge from the photos how big this orangutan really is. It is in a crouching position in the middle of standing up from where it was sitting. It froze as soon as the flash went off. I didn't even see it as I took the first picture because it was so dark. As soon as the flash went off for the second time, it stood up and started to move. I then heard the orangutan walk off into the brushes. From where I was standing, I judge it as being about 6.5 to 7 feet tall in a kneeling position.
it's important at this point to punctuate that humans are terrible about visually assessing something's size, right? Humans don't do that very well. We tend to exaggerate things that are to be bigger than they are.
As soon as I realized how close it was, I got back to the house. It had an awful smell that lasted well after it had left my yard. The orangutan was making deep whoomp noises. It sounded much farther away than it turned out to be. If I had known it was as close to the hedgerow as it was, I wouldn't have walked up as close as I did. I'm a senior citizen, and if this animal had come out of the ledge roll after me, there wasn't a thing I could have done about it. I was about 10 foot away from it when it stood up. I'm concerned because my grandchildren like to come down and explore in my backyard. An animal this big could hurt someone seriously. For 2 nights prior, it had been taking apples that my daughter brought down from up north off our back porch. These pictures were taken on the third.
He's like, hey, are these apples for everybody? Yeah. I don't know if this is even a real situation, though. I think this letter is mostly fictional.
Third night, it had raided my apples. It only came back one more night after that and took some apples that my husband had left out in order to get a better look at it. We left out 4 apples. I cut 2 of them in half. The orangutan only took the whole apples. We didn't see it take them. We waited up, but eventually had to go to bed. We got a dog back there now, and as far as I can tell, the orangutan hasn't been back. Please find out where this animal came from and who it belongs to. It shouldn't be loose like this. Someone will get hurt. I called a friend that used to work with animal control back up north, and he told us to call the police.
Like, so this letter and then the photos are the evidence that we have.
I didn't want any fuss or people with guns traipsing around behind our house. We live near I-75, and I'm afraid this orangutan could cause a serious accident if someone hit it. I wanted a deer that wasn't even a quarter of the size of this animal and totaled my car. At the very least, this animal belongs in a place like Busch Gardens where it can be looked after properly. Why haven't people been told that an animal this size is loose? How are people to know how dangerous this could be? If I had known an animal like this,
and I'm sorry, I'm like really anxious to get to the pictures, but
was loose, I wouldn't have approached it. I saw on the news that monkeys that get loose can carry hepatitis and are very dangerous.
like a couple. Okay, there we go. That's what I was waiting for. So a couple of was it about a month ago? No, it's been just a few weeks ago. The truck crashed and the monkeys got loose in Mississippi, and the driver told the police that the monkeys had hepatitis. So, like, people were freaking out and like killing monkeys all over the place.
Please look after this situation. I don't want my backyard to turn into someone else's circus. God bless. I prefer to remain anonymous. Now, we could spend hours speculating about what kind of senior citizen in the year 2000 knew how to use a computer, wrote up a letter, and printed out physical photos to mail to law enforcement. But honestly, that's a waste of time. Technology adoption varies widely from person to person. Some older folks are sharp with computers, others struggle, and a few just claim they're bad with tech as an excuse not to bother. The truth is, we have no idea who.
Well, there's things about the language too, like the way they describe the situation. Doesn't really come across. It doesn't come across as like a young kid or anything, but it doesn't come across like something that was written by someone who would have been elderly in the early 2000s. So, say somebody born in the late 1910s or early 1920s, like somebody super elderly, maybe into the 1920s or the 1930s. Does not sound like greatest generation speak.
Woman was. She could have been a.
But she could have had somebody else type it up for her too, as she dictated. So there's that possibility as well. There's a lot of stuff that stands out. I'm trying to find the the document that I had.
Quiet homemaker, a retired educator, or even a local figure who didn't want to be labeled as the crazy lady in her community. Maybe she just wanted to raise a genuine concern without turning it into a circus. But here's where it gets interesting. If I were trying to hoax the public, if I really wanted people to believe a monster was roaming the Florida swamps, I wouldn't spend 8 separate moments in the letter insisting it was just an orangutan. That alone.
See, that's what I like about Skunk Ape. This is what I was trying to pinpoint earlier. Morning, Helen. This is what I was trying to pinpoint earlier. That that the idea of the skunk ape as a species of ape is more compelling to me than the idea of the skunk ape as a Bigfoot, right? Like, as either a naturalized population of escaped like apes from some like from some facility somewhere that maybe escaped during a hurricane, like Hurricane Andrew, because that's how we got a lot of the pythons. I shouldn't say all the. That's how we got a lot of the pythons that are troubling Florida now. A lot of the reptiles and birds and monkeys that have become invasive in Florida are from, I think it was Andrew, was it 1991? So having skunk ape is like presented as a actual escaped population of apes that have started to reproduce, whether they're orangutans or chimpanzees or bonobos or gorillas. It doesn't look like a gorilla. What it does look like is an orangutan, as close as to anything else. But 1992, thank you. I was so close. You need to. I was just talking about having to reschedule my trip to Florida at the beginning of the show. Yeah, because I'm a broke bitch. There was a lot of reptile farms in Florida that flooded out. There were macaques that escaped too. Monkeys that escaped. People just let them go into the Everglades when these animals get too big. Yeah. They did that with big cats too.
The red flag, not of deceit, but of sincerity. You see, in real hoaxes, the trick is to let people draw their own conclusions. That's how you get attention. That's how you stir the pot. The more mysterious it is, the more viral it becomes. This woman does the opposite. She practically pleads with authorities to treat it as a wild, dangerous animal. Something known, not unknown. She talks about it being hit by a car, about how it might carry diseases, about how it could hurt her grandchildren. Her tone isn't breathless or theatrical. It's worried. She wants it gone, not glorified. And that's not the behavior of someone trying to launch.
Because that's so to me, let's take this as genuine. If we're taking this as genuine, then this letter would actually be a woman calling about what she suspects is an escaped ape in her backyard, and some pictures of it. And the pictures are very ape-like.
A cryptid hoax. If anything, this letter all but guarantees that her claim gets filed away as escaped exotic pet and forgotten. And not to mention, if I wanted somebody to believe that this was a Bigfoot, I would have called it a Bigfoot or a Sasquatch. Calling it an orangutan kind of belittles the possibility that it could be something that it's not. Now let's talk about what we're actually seeing in the photos. If you compare these images to orangutans with long shaggy hair, you'll notice
orangutans. It sort of does drive me crazy when people call them that. It's orangutan. For a short period in the 90s, they tried to rebrand it from orangs to Utahns, because orang is where people got the orangutan. But orang still sticks. I don't think anybody calls them Utahns anymore. But it's orang-utan. Say it together. Orangutan. But it's always... I think it's cute when people call them orangutans. It's just a funny... Like... if I created a new species of ape, I would call it the orangutan, just to bring it back, just to recycle it.
Something. And Bob Gimlin, not the cowboy,
Not the cowboy, the YouTuber. But let's take just a moment to compare this, though. Like, you got that, like I mentioned earlier, the hunch. You cannot, like, not unsee that. Like, when we look at other Bigfoot videos, Bigfoots don't hunch like that. At least not, like, as in their normal stance. This guy is super hunched over. Like, his, like, and when we talk about this when we argue with young Earth creationists, right? Like, how his skull attaches to his spine, right? Because I have a theory about what this is. I don't even know for certain that this is in Florida. But even if it is in Florida, I have no reason to believe that this wasn't taken at some sort of primate facility where they just like went up to the fence and took a picture of one of the orangutans, big male orangutans, resting at night. Disturbed it, and its eyes got caught in the eye shine of that early. I just talked about this too on the Bigfoot video or Bigfoot thing I did on Thursday night. The eye shine, right? In the late '90s and early 2000s, there was this issue with the way they capture light on the digital cameras. I think it was an issue with there was like a laser thing in it that caused this, but they've since replaced that with like I think a blue laser. I'm not sure. I don't know the technical side of it. Yeah. So like I don't disagree that this is an orangutan in Florida. There's nothing about that claim that I find problematic. Whether or not it's escaped or housed somewhere, that's where I'm kind of because I do believe. I mean, I'm willing to believe that this is an organic organism, especially because the facial expressions change. It could be a man in a suit, but the way the eye shine works, I really want to believe this is a real animal, just based on what I'm seeing here. Now, the picture that he's chosen for the orangutan here is really good to compare this to, because you get everything from the dentition, which we do see dentition here. You see, I don't know how well you guys see it, but there's two lower canines. And there are the 4 incisors, which does seem to match up with what we're seeing here. A row of 4 lower incisors, 2 lower canines. So it does match up with like a real ape. I think. And the foliage does the foliage hell is with this foliage it could be in this could be in Borneo. But if they want to say it's in Florida, I'm fine with that. But there's no evidence that this was a wild animal, that this wasn't somebody's even somebody's pet in their backyard. For all I know, Florida has some crazy rules, or had some crazy rules until the Andrew situation. And they kind of cut back on what sort of critters you could keep. But anyhow, I'm perfectly fine accepting that this is an ape. And this is why I like skunk ape. This is what stands out about skunk ape to me, is that it could be a very real primate. Like Bigfoot gets into the more like, what could it be? Is it a human? Is it an animal kind of thing? But this is very clearly an animal, very clearly a primate, very clearly a great ape of non. Well, I don't think it's in the the tribe that we're in, the African apes. It looks very much like an Asian ape, which would be an orangutan, the only ones that are extant.
YouTuber, did a great breakdown of this almost a decade ago. He pointed out how chimps and other great apes use facial expressions to communicate fear, submission, and aggression. The two expressions caught in these photos, these line up almost perfectly with what's called a fear grimace and a retreat response.
Why are you showing African apes? Because they have completely different mannerisms than Asian apes. And chimpanzees' facial expressions are going to have more in common with yours than they are with an orangutan's. So why are you showing me chimpanzees?
The first image looks like a startled reaction. Wide eyes, lips curled. The second appears
But again, you're comparing an African ape's expressions with Asian ape's expressions, which are independent of each other. That's what's always so funny about like Planet of the Apes and stuff, because they'll have chimps and gorillas and bonobos, but they'll also have orangutans. When orangutans are going to have the disease killed all the humans, but only the non-human apes survived, and orangutans are more distantly related. So wouldn't they be, if there was a disease that would kill the African apes independent of the Asian apes, or the Asian apes independent of the African apes, not put them together? Rant over.
to show it backing away with its brow furrowing and face tightening, possibly shielding its eyes from the harsh flash of the camera. So just imagine,
Perhaps
even if this
shielding its eyes. What are you talking about? Perhaps shielding its eyes. I don't see any indication that it's shielding its eyes.
shielding its eyes from the harsh flash of the camera. So just imagine, even if this was some kind of unusually hairy chimp, flash of the camera.
Now I do see some plant matter here that doesn't seem to have any source across the face. So I don't know if this is being thrown, as an ape is wont to do, or if it's somehow been cut off by the shadows of the plants in front of it to make it look like it's floating. But there's no attached part, and it's green, so it's not like dead plant matter hanging there. Curious. And the way that it covers across the nose has me suspicious, but I'm glad we got in closer here because we can look again at the dentition, which is important to me, and that's how that helps me identify a lot of creatures, is looking at the dentition. So, 2 canines, 1, 2, and then we should see 4 across here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. It almost looks like there's a 5th one in there, but I don't know if that's just a gap in the tooth that's being pixelated in. It's hard to say with this poor resolution. I like that that we can see the beard more so in this lighting. See, getting close in like this, I don't know if this was done to enhance it, but I almost see like a cloudy Photoshop job over top of this with there's the white that may have actually been there, but then this white here goes over top of the plant matter too. This cloudy white, this milky white. It goes, you can see it, especially follow this. If you follow this one up through, you see it goes behind this cloudy whiteness here. That's suspicious to me. Okay? I'm going to point out a few suspicious things while we're up this close. The fact that it kind of gets patchy here, which I can see is that they were going for I keep saying they're going for, I'm sure this is photoshopped, but that the shadow is catching here. But the way the shadow sort of skirts around the finer tips of this, in bulk instead of individually, it's really suspicious. This milky white layer here, and it could be a relic from printing, from the light reflecting off the whiter fur. There's a lot of things that could cause that, but the fact that it blends right in here and it goes over top of the plants, and not all the plants, that's part of the problem too, is that it goes over top of this one this one here, but this one here is in front of it, like over top of it, and this one here goes over top of it, right? It's very suspicious. Could the milky white be breath? Was it cold there? I mean, this is southern Florida. I don't think it ever gets cold enough to like see your breath down in basically in the Caribbean. I mean, maybe it does on certain nights of the year, but let's see. What are you doing? We're going to look at my Yakka. I'm just pulling it up on the map. Give me a second. And we're going to see how far south it is. All right. It's not really that far south. Hey, it's near it's near some of my people in the chat. So my Floridians, it gets cold enough down here to see your breath. Thank you for letting me know. I didn't know when you got this far down if it would get that cold. But I believe people who live in the area when they say, yeah, it's been in the winter, I can see my breath some nights or most nights or whatever. Speaking of this place, though, we need to save this to the favorites now that we've been here. But here's the Skunk Ape Museum. You want to drop down and look in there real quick while we're down here? Whoop. So there's the skunk ape habitat, very conveniently right across from the skunk ape headquarters. Everglade Adventure Tours with kayaks? Hell yeah, I love canoes. I don't see any kayaks actually. It's just canoes. Do they let you kayak, or is kayaking sitting too low in the water and the gators get you? I want to go canoeing. Okay, it does a couple weeks during the year. Chewbacca married an Ewok maiden, and that is the result. I'm here for that. You didn't miss too much. We're skunk aping right now. We're going. This is the Skunk Ape Museum. I wonder where the tour takes you. We got a campground back here. Like, I wonder. Like, over here, this was, like, when we dropped down, this was all swampland. I'm assuming that this is not. I don't know, though. Can we drop down? Yeah, we can drop down right here. Let's see. It's more of like marshy. Yeah, what you call a marsh in the swamp. But this is still prime skunk ape habitat. But you wouldn't be able to kayak here because it's pretty solid ground. I mean, not solid. It's probably mud that'll sink you down to your knees. We are gonna go. I know I want to go. I just wish I can't afford to. Me and Helen keep having this conversation because we really want to go to the Skunk Ape Museum. She really wants to show me the Skunk Ape Museum, and I really want to go. Todd's so excited to go. We're all gonna go down and get our picture taken with a live skunk ape in the wild from our canoe. But it's just finding the resources and funding to get me to Florida for a weekend. Yeah. And I got every penny I get, I have to go towards survival at this point. We should just start kayaking everywhere and abandon cars, right? Like, have like a water system, right, that runs through cities and stuff, like little canals that you kayak in. I would love that. That would be awesome. You have like kayaks and canoes. Bring back kayaking and canoeing around, and like instead of highways, you'd have like rivers that you went down, like narrow rivers, maybe even along major rivers. Like we already have the pathways. I guess it's getting back up that's the problem. So we can drop down inside here too, I think. Let me see. Well, not inside, I guess. We're like at the door. Look at this place. Exit only, do not enter. There's a Florida panther. I love a Florida panther. Dangerous reptiles. Hell yeah, there are. Got a gift shop, a big old gator. Yeah. There's the skunk ape right out front, though. And we can walk inside. Look at this place. There's a gray fox, I believe. Black bear. Wild boar. Or I guess that's probably a feral hog, not wild boar. So we're going to go here at some point. And we're going to get our skunk ape on. Deeper, it's a whitetail. We got some gooses. Sasquatch next 10 kilometers. It's got a target. Oh, don't shoot. Do not shoot Sasquatch. Just don't. Why would you do such a thing? We got raccoon pelts. Is that a Florida panther head? Oh my gosh. This is, I like gift shops like this where there's a lot of wild stuff. I guess that's a bathroom probably. Can I walk around more or is this it? I mean, this was more than I expected, honestly. But I want to camp here. Like I kind of want to get a tent or or if someone had a camper that we could borrow and do a camp out here. What do you all think? Would that be fun? We could do like live broadcast. We got to crowdfund this. Let's crowdfund a trip to the Everglades. Yeah, because look, they got a camper. You can get your camper set up. You're right on the edge. I'd be herping so hard here. Yeah, let's do it. Let's crowdfund this shit. All right. We get back to the video. There we go. All right.
So just imagine even if this was some kind of unusually hairy chimp. It's outside after dark, maybe scavenging. A screen door bangs shut, a porch light suddenly flashes on. That reaction, shock followed by withdrawal, makes sense. It feels real. And then there's the physical structure. If this were a costume or a
Hold on, I'm going to catch up on my comments here because I see Kelly came in. Hey, babe. Let's start a conspiracy that Disney tried beating an unholy new species of great ape, but tried to cover it up when it escaped. Yeah, it's Disney's atomic ape, right? They were trying to build a perfect primate body to attach the head of Walt Disney to by crossbreeding different ape species, and this is what they created. And then it escaped because it was too smart. It was too perfect. Right? Once I'm feeling better, we'll make it happen, right? I know my girl here, Helen, has been dealing with some terrible health issues. So if you want to send her some love, send her some love. I'm doing the millennial style. Let's see. It's catching up. What if Bigfoot is trying to get sexy without consent? Who wouldn't consent to this? Oh, yeah. That's got daddy energy. For real, do not shoot anything that resembles Bigfoot. Yeah, because it's probably a person. You're probably going to catch a murder charge. I'm going to wait for the sea to rise another few feet. Yeah, and then we can definitely start kayaking everywhere. We can camp in a hotel. Can we camp in a hotel? A camper would be fine, right? How you be living in Florida and don't have any friends that let you borrow their camper? Summer camping is shit. Camping during the fall is the only camping. Yeah, I would if I was going to do this, I'd probably plan to do it like at Halloween time. Like do it in like mid-October. That would be what I would plan to. And we could bring apples with us. Because that's what skunk apes like. Skunk apes eat apples. Like, this goes hand in hand.
Statue, the face and features would be rigid, static. But in the second photo,
Okay, and this is a comparison that I do like. So, some of the features do seem to change. I don't know how I feel about the claim that the eyes are wide here and closed a bit here. I think that here they're catching full light and there they're not catching full light. Whether that means that they're closed more is subjective because it could be the angle of the head not allowing them to catch as much light. And the mouth is open in both images as far as I can see. I don't know why this image is saying the mouth is shut when we can clearly see the teeth. There's the canine tooth right there and the gums. Actually, I would even say you can see the inside of the mouth better in this picture. So I don't know why he's saying it's shut. Unless it's talking about this being shut. I don't consider this a shut mouth though, right? I think my mouth is still open. Bugs can still get in there. My mouth's shut like this. And I'm an ape. Last time I checked.
we see distinct changes, especially in the mouth and brow, movement, emotion. These aren't just two snapshots of some puppet. Something actually changed between them. So either this is the most underrated, expertly crafted hoax of the early 2000s, complete with animatronics and subtle behavior cues, or it's exactly what the woman claimed it was, a real creature, one that's not supposed to exist. And here's the part that pulls everything together. This creature, this swamp ape, might not be limited to just Florida, because just a few states away in Mississippi, a new video has surfaced, and what it shows is disturbingly familiar. This next video surfaced about 14 years after the Mayaka skunk ape photos, and before I show it to you, there are a few things you should know. I've worked to stabilize the footage so it's easier to watch. The original was pretty shaky. What you'll notice is that the creature appears
Bigfoot has, we talked about this earlier, Thursday, we talked about this, that Bigfoot has psychic powers and can manipulate electronics. So that's why he's shaky and blurry.
to be sitting in front of a tree, peeling off chunks of bark. Then toward the end, it stands up, and that's when the man recording decides he's seen enough and takes off. Now let's talk about the bark stripping behavior for a second. I'm no wildlife expert despite my similar appearance to Coyote Peterson. So I did a little digging, and what I found is fascinating. Gorillas do peel bark from...
I like you a lot better than Coyote Peterson. I'm going to be frank about it. I just don't like the way Coyote Peterson tries to villainize stinging creatures, mostly arthropods. Bees, hornets, wasps, ants. Makes people afraid of them. I don't think it's good for them. People like see a tarantula hawk or something. They have a fear response to it, an unneeded fear response to it, because it doesn't want to mess with you. You have to go out of your way to get stung by it. So just leave it alone. So I like you better than Coyote Peterson, dude. Just so you know. Bigfoot can also travel through portals. I heard that. That's probably what those orbs are. Is like the portal, like the collapsed portals floating away.
trees. They do it to get the nutritious pulp underneath, to eat decaying wood, or even lick stumps for sodium. It's actually textbook primate behavior, especially when other food sources are limited. So yeah, skeptics might say this is just an escaped gorilla, but before you jump to that conclusion, let me throw this into the mix.
Let me clarify here that usually when you see an ape digging at a decaying tree stump, they're looking for insect larvae. They're not actually eating the pulp. They can. I mean, depending on the type of wood it is. There's a lot of edible wood. We eat wood. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but should I say we eat wood? There's probably wood that we eat too. Like aspirin's made out of willow bark, for instance. But root beer is wood. You're basically drinking wood flavored carbonated sugar water. But if you're drinking root beer, if you eat something that's root beer flavored, you're eating wood. You're a little termite. That's what you are. Do you eat wood? Oh my gosh, you're you're getting into the territory. I be eating wood. I remember my giant tongue.
The Creek people of the Native American tribe.
Maybe that's why I have a big tongue for scooping up termites. I'm an anteater. It's my ape instinct to lick grubs out of logs with my tongue.
Of the Southeast had stories of monsters. They called them kolowa, and while translations vary, modern interpretations of that word, gorilla.
That's such a silly argument when they say, hey, this Native American language had this word for primates, and it sounds kind of like these people's word for gorilla or whatever. And they use that a lot in the Pacific Northwest, but like people were European ships have been coming up the Pacific coast since Spain took Mexico in like 1585 or some shit like that. Like Spanish ships have been sailing up and down the Pacific coast ever since. And people coming from that coast brought monkeys with them. They even have monkey mask from like Pacific Northwest tribes. That's from their contact with Europeans. And word association, because like when you think of gorilla and you think of the origins of the word gorilla, to claim that same word would be, because let me see. Etymology of gorilla. It's supposed to be an African word for wild or hairy person, found in the Greek accounts of the voyages of Carthaginian explorer Hanno in the 5th or 6th century, adopted in 1847 as a specific name of the ape. So it was a name that Hanno the Navigator. We could talk about Hanno at some point. That's when we do like a deep dive in the history of Bigfoot lore, because he's a big part of it, and how people characterize it. But like what he did was he went down and sailed down into Africa along the coast, and along the coast of West Africa, he discovered that there was a tribe of primitive people, and he called them gorilla or wild hairy people. Right? It's suspected that he discovered either a troop of chimpanzees or a troop of gorillas. It's hard to say. They were both native to the region. They overlap there quite a bit in the armpit of Africa, if you will. So it's hard to say what he ran into, right? But they created that word for it to claim that a different group of people across the the Atlantic before, like this is pre-Columbian contact, would have a similar word for the same thing is just silly. Gorillas are terrifying. Well, the big males are for sure. I for real see a black bear with its head shoved inside of a tree. Are you seeing a Bigfoot here? Well, at some angles it does look humanoid, but at a lot of angles it looks like a bear. The shoulders are interesting though. Especially because they seem to come up out of nowhere right there. Oh, we're watching it again. What the hell? Actually, the stabilized footage has sort of changed my mind. I definitely think it's somebody in some kind of suit at this point. Standing like this. Right now, right? Manipulating the stuff. Obviously from the other side. Like this. Right? And they're up manipulating stuff. What do y'all think? A squatting human in a costume standing up, because the way the shoulders spread out here, I don't think it's a bear. The shoulders are too broad across, too human-like. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in here that does look like a bear, though. I almost wonder if this is someone in a bear costume. Or something similar. I'm showing you what... Showing my ass again. It is a nice ass, though. But... like, digging up in the underbrush. I was pretending to be a skunk ape. I can be a skunk ape. See? I'm knuckle walking, so I'm an ape. I'm gonna sit like an ape. Who's complaining? Hopefully nobody. I'm gonna start making skunk ape content. I'm gonna dress like a skunk ape. I seen a monkey mask. I'm just gonna wear that and make content. And it'll be like Return to the Planet of the Apes.
So now with these two pieces of evidence, the Mayaka photos and this Mississippi footage, we have to ask ourselves a serious question. Could these creatures actually be real? Now, let me be clear so you can decide for yourself where you stand. I believe these sightings, these swamp-dwelling primates, are regional variations of Gigantopithecus, the massive ape believed to have gone extinct.
This is for the Hive regulars. This is one of my pet peeves. The Gigantopithecus argument is such a huge problem. There's so many holes. Does not make sense in the slightest. Okay. We've never found any Asian ape remains outside of or north of China, right? There was just never, within the time that apes have been on this planet, there's never been a situation where we see that region would have been a place where apes could even live. My mic got quiet. Is it back? I mean, I'm sure my mic got quiet when I was turned around. Am I quiet now? Check. It looks like it's peaking high. Huh. Let me look here. Sound. I'm up at 55. I can crank it up a little bit. I don't want it to be too high and peak all over the place. But I got my mic's right here. I hear you fine. Sounds okay to me. Okay, good. I know my mic. My sound probably dropped when I was turned around. But okay, I was talking about the Gigantopithecus thing, right? Okay, so Gigantopithecus lived along, basically, we'll just make it simple, we'll say along the Himalayas, right? Do I have to still have a map up? Boom, boom, boom. I do. All right. So let's talk about Gigantopithecus. First of all, here's Florida, right? Gigantopithecus lived, all right, across an entire continent of North America. So maybe there's habitat that apes can live in the southern parts of the United States, right? But all this across here, the Great Plains and the Rocky Mountains, the desert Southwest, all of this, you can make an argument that the apes could live in this area, in this rainforest here, if they can handle, if they have adapted somehow to handle the snow. But across all this, and you got this forested area up here that's going to be largely coniferous, so that's not going to be prime habitat. And tons of tundra. Across the Bering Land Bridge would be the only way that it could go. And apes do not live in the tundra. There's never been any kind of evidence. And the fun thing about tundra habitats is that they tend to preserve their life forms very well, especially if it's life forms from within the last ice age, right? So we are pretty well versed on what lived in this area 100,000 years ago, and there's definitely no bipedal apes. So tundra, more tundra, and taiga, which is that coniferous forest that I was talking about, and taiga, tons of taiga, montane, forested regions. Then we get down into the areas like the Pacific Northwest. These parts of. This is all still frigid regions, and you get into this huge plateau, right? And you'd have to go, I guess, along the coast here, if you were an ape, to maintain even the semblance of enough forest to make that sort of migration, right? And leave no traces behind. But this is the region of the world that the northern reaches of Asian apes was in this part of the world. Historically, apes did live all along this area of the Himalayas, right? But this is where Asian apes really come from. This is what orangutan, Gigantopithecus. What are some other Asian apes? I can't even think of any off the top of my head. But yeah, they all lived in this area. So that's quite the migration for the most arboreal of the great apes, the most dependent on dense rainforests and jungles, right? Right? So keep that in mind. Oh no, we've already went way over on Cryptic Corner, haven't we? Uh-oh. Not way over. We'll finish this one out though.
Hundreds of thousands of years ago. And I know some folks believe Bigfoot is something spiritual or even interdimensional, but I respectfully disagree. I think it's a real physical animal, incredibly rare, highly intelligent, and perfectly adapted to stay hidden. And look, maybe you don't buy the Mayaka photos, maybe you think this Mississippi creature is just a trick of the light.
When I say Asian apes, oh my gosh, I should clarify now that you brought up gibbons, because gibbons are Asian apes, but what I'm talking about is the great apes, and gibbons are not great apes. I guess I should have been much more clear about that. But gibbons live almost exclusively in what would you call that? Not the Sunda, but like down here, almost exclusively. Let's see if I can find a map. Yeah, here we go. That's a better visual. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so this is where gibbons live, right? In these different territories. So when we look at this map, yeah, it's this area.
Or a zoo escapee. That's fair. But what if I told you we already have something even more powerful than eyewitness reports? Something physical, verifiable, and tested. DNA. That's right. A Texas veterinarian and genetics researcher conducted a full-scale DNA analysis of 111 samples submitted from across North America. Hair, blood, stools...
Well, we're talking about the Melba Ketchum research. Hold on. The Ketchum Project. Boom, boom. Security check. Damn. I am human. What are you talking about? Alright, here we go. This really doesn't specify or hone in on skunk ape specifically, but what the hell? Let's do it. I'll take this back over here for now. Okay. This paper is a detailed history of the attempts by Melba S. Ketchum to publish evidence that, in quotes, and we're going to talk about quotes here when we do the Matt Powell thing in a minute, that confirms the existence of a novel hominin hybrid species commonly called Bigfoot or Sasquatch living in North America. The research claims that the DNA sequence returned results suggest that the legendary Sasquatch is a human relative that arose approximately 15,000 years ago as a hybrid cross between Homo sapiens and an unknown primate species. The paper was ridiculed and rejected by the scientific community. This is a blatant example of an attempt to make an end run around peer review with sensational claims. The Ketchum Project, what to believe about Bigfoot DNA science. On November 24th, DNA Diagnostics, a veterinary laboratory headed by Dr. Melba S. Ketchum, issued a press release that rocked the cryptozoological world. A team of scientists can verify that their 5-year-long DNA study, currently under the peer review confirmed the existence of a novel hominid hybrid species. Hybrid species. I don't even like that terminology, but we'll move past it. Commonly called Bigfoot or Sasquatch, living in North America, researchers' extensive DNA sequencing suggests that the legendary Sasquatch is a human relative that arose approximately 15,000 years ago. Well, we just read that. The study was said to include sequencing of 20 whole mitochondrial genomes. Is there a conclusion? Let's see. Back to the beginning. This is pretty long. We're definitely not going to have time to read it. Results are exposed. Ketchum's key to gaining acceptance for her Bigfoot DNA claims was published in a respected peer-reviewed scientific journal, but the plan went awry. The complicated mix of people, secrecy, delays, and promises boiled over in a late November when news of the study was outed by Igor Burtsev, the self-appointed head of the Russian-based International Center of Hominology. Burtsev issued this urgent announcement on his Facebook page on November 23rd. The DNA analysis of the Bigfoot Sasquatch specimen conducted by Dr. Belba Ketchum, the head of the DNA diagnostic in Timpson, Texas, U.S., has been over. He stated in that the team of American scientists led by Ketchum analyzed 109 purported samples of the creature. Ketchum sounded somewhat dismayed when responding to the leak, saying, "It's unfortunate that the partial summary of our data was released in this manner. However, I will be making a formal response in the next few days." Even though Igor Burtsev released this, it was not Dr. Burtsev's fault. She later admitted that possibly misunderstanding due to a language and his eagerness is why the non-disclosure agreement was breached. At this point, she felt the study must be addressed instead of ignoring the leak that might cause further damage if left unattended. Unattended. And look who we have here. If it isn't our favorite charlatan, David Paulides. The papers appear. Yeah, I want to get to the circus that follows. Yeah. Accompanying the official version of the paper was Erickson's video, which supposedly showed a sleeping Sasquatch. The short clip made public a day later showed a brown, furry mass sleeping in woodland on the woodland floor. The Erickson project claimed that DNA was obtained from this individual named Matilda, which was analyzed as part of the Ketchum study, providing a link to the real creature. So what does Ketchum have? Is it a human DNA with an undocumented variation? Is it an animal sample contaminated with human DNA, or vice versa? Is it a concocted hoax, or is it actually unique DNA that may point to the existence of an unknown hominid or two? In a revealing interview on Coast to Coast AM, she told the public she is not after glory, would rather avoid the publicity, and that and has turned down money-making offers. So, yeah. I don't think, just my opinion, I don't think that this is a good citation.
Skin all allegedly linked to Sasquatch encounters. These weren't one-off samples either. They came from 14 states and 2 Canadian provinces, all collected by different people in different places over different years. And the results are They're shocking. The mitochondrial DNA, the kind passed down from mother, came back human, but the nuclear DNA, that came back as primate. This hybrid is something that we've never seen before, and that should have been the discovery of the century. But instead of front page headlines, the study was buried. Major scientific journals refused to publish the findings, afraid of the backlash. A journalist even launched a hit piece to discredit the research, but the counterclaims were full of holes, raising more.
Actually, the counterclaims were based in the Ketchum paperwork was full of holes. You got that kind of inverted. I understand why you would want to do that, but yeah, that's just not the way the scientific process works.
Suspicion than certainty. So now we have to ask, was this a flawed study or an effort to suppress the truth? Because if that DNA is legit, then Bigfoot isn't just a myth, it's real. And someone, somewhere, doesn't want us to know. And maybe that's why, even with videos, photos, and now genetic material, we still don't have proof, because Uncle Sam just might be hiding something. Now what that something is, well, that's a mystery.
Bigfoot is in the basement of the Smithsonian. We gotcha.
And where mysteries lie, adventure awaits. If you like what I do and you want to help support me, then the best way.
If you like what I do, you can support me on Patreon too. You can join these badass mofos up here. See that scrolling across the top? That's my patrons. So if you want to join them, you want to participate in supporting the Hive and the development of the Hive and the future of the Hive, yeah. That's what you can do, is support me on Patreon. Thank you for plugging my Patreon, bud. I appreciate you. I didn't know he was going to do that. All right, so that was Adventure, Explore, Discover. And one of their more recent videos, too. But they do a video every few... it looks like about every month, every 2 months or so. We got hidden treasure, living dinosaurs, lake monsters. We got Pigman. I love the Pigman. Look how short that video is, though. Most of his videos are fairly short. They're all under, looks like they're all pretty much under half an hour. But we covered it for an hour because I kept going on tangents. I love the tangent, though, especially about cryptids. Now, I have some other stuff to pull up and cover, and we might have to just do a Skunk Ape standalone at some point. Because I had a Thinker Thunker video pulled up about the same footage, though, where he makes all kinds of claims
Down
about
to the
bone
knee.
structure and stuff, about the guy digging in the tree, and Thinker Thunker goes all out on their their artistic representations. I guess they're scientific representations, but, you know. Just charting it out, and he insisted it matches the proportions of Patty. How Patty got from California to Florida
Teams over on the right.
is beyond me, but yeah. Anyway, so that's that. Now, when it comes to the topics we cover on Cryptic Corner, we probably won't circle back to this on the Saturday morning show. We'll probably do this as a standalone, like, special at some point. Again, if I do go on a adventure into Florida to the museum and stuff, I will do another coverage on it. But I appreciate everybody hanging out with me for some Skunk Ape action. We all need a little more Skunk Ape in our lives, isn't that right? You all got to see me make ape poses and stuff and act like an ape. But you know what? I am an ape. I'm a human ape. Humans are apes. Hey, you, what do you see? We live with apes, babe. It's hard to be clean. Hey, you, what gotta believe? I'm singing Marilyn Manson. Anyway, I need to close out this segment. So, Cryptic Corner peeps, thank you so much for sticking around. This has been a long one. Appreciate you. Remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time. All right. Live from the Hive, family. Thank you for sticking around. That one, we went almost a full half an hour over on that, but I love Skunk Ape. I love them. One of my favorite cryptids of all time. We are gonna go. We will make it happen, says Hell's Bells. Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope so. That'd be so cool. All right, I'm gonna take an intermission. My coffee's gone, so I'm gonna get a pop because I still need more caffeine to keep going here. And I'm gonna grab a donut too. So I will do this intermission and I'll be right back. And we'll do some Weekend Weird.
The Kool-Aid of saying that there is no God. Don't drink the Kool-Aid of religion. Tune Network tell us that dinosaurs farted themselves to death to evolve and to continue their evolution on Earth. That Jesus was just a man and not God. Toon Network land or Nickelodeon land. He reviewed My Little Pony. Those of you in this atheist, non-believing community, that dinosaurs lived 65 plus million years ago in this new environment on a beneficial mutation to try to disprove the Bible 65 plus million years ago. Didn't deteriorate for millions and millions of years. If deep time evolution were true, and say that somehow it was magically preserved, and that's how it lasted in deep time. This iron could preserve it. Okay, maybe that iron could be what's preserving the blood cells, and he consummated the marriage, and it was normal back then, and choose to marry her when she was only 9 years old and make a public spectacle of them. The way that he actually started out his ministry is after he received this supposed revelation, and it was replaced with the origin of species by means of natural selection.
Hey, you that Matt Powell guy?
I am, yep.
I seen you on YouTube with that Ken Hovind guy. You're like Ken Hovind light.
And just the fact that they're now saying that transgenderism is somehow healthcare, and that we need to have our tax dollars go to supporting somebody mutilating their body. People today think this is somehow cool and that it's really awesome to go and get a gender change. And the truth is that there are only male chromosomes and female chromosomes. There is no it chromosomes. And just the word it is degrading to another human. But if they're not a male or a female, what are they? They refer to themselves as an it. No, you know what's abusive and wrong? Telling your kids that it's okay to go and get their body mutilated by some supposed doctor who should be making them better, not mutilating their bodies. This kind of unscientific garbage and propaganda that the news media props up. Read the Bible, study some science, and it won't be long before you realize there's only male and female, and there's only male chromosomes, female chromosomes. There is no other gender. One of the things that I've noticed is they'll say, well, which God is it? You've got the Hindu God, you've got the Mormon God, you've got the Jehovah's Witness God, you've got the Christian God, you've got the Baptist God, and you've got all these different gods according to them. 110 million. More than the Holy Wars, 10 times more at least, than religion ever thought of doing any killing, okay? His dad ended up having to get him a job as a comforter for a ship captain while they were floating about in the ocean. You know, a lot of people in your community have accused me of strawmanning evolution theory and trying to prove things that are supposedly unprovable. He absolutely destroyed every single argument, quote unquote, that the godless engineer made. And there's a lot of people that say that anybody that listens to creationists or anybody that listens to myself have really drunk the Kool-Aid. And they love to use that phrase that our listeners have drank the Kool-Aid. So anybody that says that people have drank the Kool-Aid by listening to my content, they're using a bad example of an atheist who took a bunch of lives as proof, quote unquote, that Christianity is somehow bad. So when he's saying that I'm just making this stuff up and it's creationist talking points that I'm regurgitating, and they will accuse us of supposedly having quote unquote blind faith, when they themselves don't even have any evidence whatsoever for this supposed orc cloud that creates comets. Atheists will accuse us all day of having blind faith and not having any reasons for what we believe in. I wanted to do a video specifically addressed to the atheist community and those who have come out against me in the comment section on YouTube. I wanted to do this quick video just addressed to the theistic evolutionists that are out there and those who believe that somehow the Bible is compatible with theistic evolution. The only way that monkeys could have got there, since they found monkey fossils there that weren't supposed to be there according to evolution because monkeys were in Africa, the only way they could have got there according to evolution theory was surfing the ocean blue. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. I'm going to trust what God said. You could trust people like Aaron Ra, Richard Dawkins, Neil deGrasse Tyson, those who don't have your best interest in mind, the celebrities of the world. So if you're a theistic evolutionist and you're listening to this and you want to continue to believe in theistic evolution and continue having an opinion outside of what the facts are and what the truth is, you're welcome to do that.
If the universe was eternal, we'd reach a point of equilibrium. By the way, we wouldn't even be here. The planets would be out of orbit. Everything would be a mess. Life wouldn't even be able to exist. So whenever they say, the universe is eternal, I just ask them, what celebrity have you been listening to? So there are no missing links. And Stephen Gould, who's one of the top paleontologists in the world, said, and I quote, he said, there are no missing links. The whole chain's missing. Look, over 110 million people have died under atheistic communism here. More than the Holy Wars, 10 times more, at least, than religion ever thought of doing any killing. So whenever dealing with an atheist, you're going to hear a lot of regurgitated arguments that they've heard from television stars or people on the internet or their favorite atheist YouTuber that they like.
I seen you on YouTube with that Ken Hovind guy. You're like Ken Hovind light.
Perhaps, man. What's your name?
I'm Rick.
Matt Powell, nice to meet you.
I'm an atheist.
All right. Wow. So, yes, subscribe to Big Bad Mama. And we got Big Bad Mama's link. You can drop your own link there. You got a wrench too. But yes, please subscribe to Big Bad Mama. They put together this cut and the one we watched of Kent Hovind. There were giants in those days. That video. He also put that one together. So. Yeah, there's some hilarious stuff over there on his channel. Atheist YouTuber. Yeah, Matt Powell did a hit piece on me. How long has it been? 2 years ago? It was when I came out as trans. Like when I was in my ugly duckling phase of my transition too. So it was really he was really trying to hit the nail on the head with being like, oh, look at this, because I hadn't even started my my medical transition at that point. I had just started my social transition, so I was just looked like a feminine man, and then into a maybe like a cross-dressing kind of look, but. And, you know, there's also that stage in your transition where you, like, wear all the stuff that you couldn't wear when you were a kid. So, you're wearing a lot of goofy outfits and stuff. And, yeah, there's some pictures of me wearing some silly stuff. I did the perspective with your friendly neighborhood atheist wearing some silly stuff. But it was fun all the same. But Matt Powell really came at me. So, yeah. I've done lots of responses to Matt Powell, though. Let me see here. Duplicate. All right. So if you want to see... Yeah, so I came at him pretty hard, too. When he started responding to me. I've got looks like, what's this, 9 videos? 10 videos covering his nonsense. So his thing about monkeys surfing, I got it covered right here. Big Bang nonsense right there. His talk about space octopuses right there. Flintstoneology, where he talks about people living with dinosaurs right there. This is actually, I think, the video I made in response to his... Oh, no, that's later on. Where he challenged me to a debate and then, like, backed out. And here he is talking about the dinosaurs farting themselves into extinction. Here's one about the Grand Canyon with a thumbnail of me being all like when I was mask presenting, and I was sexy as hell. I had like a 6-pack. There's like a slender guy, but yeah, that's me at the Grand Canyon, like actually at the Grand Canyon right there. And then how to trigger Matt Powell. This one's the one about my transition. This one's the one that got some attention. But I guess this one got more attention than that one. But anyway. And then here was like there's a follow-up about his transgender rant. So it's all I've got. If you want to see me respond to any of the shit that Matt Powell has said in that last video, or the video we just watched, open it up and have a look. Just go to my channel. I should make a playlist out of this, really. It'd be nice if we had an option to do that, like make a playlist. Because he's just like mixed in with a bunch of other creationists on my playlist from back when I did Creation Watch. You see this show I used to do called Creation Watch. Pretty much all of that's what this is. But, you know. Anyway, but we're not talking about that today on Weekend Weird or anything. I just people were bringing it up in the side chat, and I wanted to address it. And also I saw Big Bad Mama come in and wanted to give him a shout out. Let me see if I missed any comments before I'm just going to do the start of the show here in a second. His religion makes him hide his homosexuality. Like, he was. I don't want to accuse him of anything, but he was kind of like he had chaser energy towards me. I'm going to tell Aaron he doesn't have our best interest at heart. Let's see. Look at all them nodding along with him. Yeah, they're just drones. Because the devil is truly daddy. That suit is both off Amazon and gay. That suit is definitely like something I would have wanted to wear if I had to go into a church when I was like in my 20s. I'd have been like, I want the black suit with the black tie, and you know, I would have. I didn't, but I didn't have that choice. I had to take hand-me-down suit from my dad that had like a freaking 70s collar. It was so embarrassing. I had to wear it to a wedding once. Those 6 parishioners all filed for damages after the sermon. Yeah, you notice how small his little church is. Except Daddy is not Matt Amoeba Brain Pal, so somebody tell him to put his flannel back on. What did he call you? David? Yeah, he said my name was David. Yeah, they call me David because I slew Goliath. Oh man, y'all commented a lot after that. Matt Powell has a crush on you, Bree. I think his crush was probably more when I was more like masculine presenting. I think he liked me that way. I think that me transitioning probably made him mad because he was into what I was doing before that. I think so anyway. I think that that I was his type before my transition, and it made him upset and uncomfortable when I did. I think that's what happened. That's a conspiracy theory, though. Matt isn't even Kent Light. He's like Kent Hovind, like the non-alcoholic Kent Hovind. No alcohol. The NA Hovind. Without any other punch that makes, because Hovind has like and I say this with the most bitterness on my tongue as possible, and that is I'll compare him to certain people so you understand what I'm talking about. Hovind has a level of grandfatherly Southern charm to him that you kind of get from other like famous pastors too, that Matt Powell will never have. And the shitty part about that is that Hovind's not even from the South. All of his Southern charm was appropriated. Hovind's from my neighborhood. I'm from the Midwest, upper Midwest, central Illinois area, like nowhere. Little cities and small towns in the middle in between cornfields. That's where I come from, Hovind, and some other people too. Who doesn't have a crush on the amazing Bumblebee? I can't have a crush on me because then I'll be accused of autogynephilia. I wouldn't want that. I still can't believe Grayson ate food with him. I would be sus of anything they cooked. But yeah. All right, let's get into today's topic. Okay, welcome to our Weekend Weird. I'm your host, hostess, Miss Bumblebee. I think I'm gonna start calling myself hostess, even though host is gender neutral. I really want to annoy the anti-trans people by doing things as femmy as possible. So I'm going to flip my wrist. I'm going to express my little jazz hands. I'm going to wiggle my waist. I'm going to bare my midriff. That really annoys a lot of guys, especially because I don't have like a tight tummy anymore. They're like, oh my God, you can't bare your midriff if you have that little tummy. My stomach is tiny. I can like totally suck it in and hide it. But it really pisses them off that I do this, right? I don't know why. They're like, oh, you have to be a pencil. I'm skinny enough, bitch. Get off my back. The hostess with the mostest. So I'm going to do all the feminine things to annoy my haters because then they come and comment. They come a lot of times and they'll accuse me of muting them too, but a lot of times the claim will be that I'm deleting their comments when they just comment stuff that gets stuck in the YouTube algorithm. Now it's like, hey, you can't say these things publicly, and they blame me for it. It's like, there's terms of service when you register your account, right? Like you can't say these things because of YouTube. Yeah, I don't exist for them, right? And I tell people that all the time. I'm like, if you don't like it, keep scrolling. If you comment though, I'm more than happy to drag you because yeah, I see girls burying their muffin tops. Yeah, I got a little bit of muffin top, especially if I angle my body just right. Sort of. Kind of hangs over. All right. Yeah, gassing myself up, but that's okay. I need affirmation, so people will hate on you for that too. It's like, oh, you need your daily affirmation. You're lying to yourself or whatever. What the fuck does it matter to you? If you don't like it, move on. A little bit, especially if I wear too tight of pants. Sometimes I do. I helped donate to his ex's legal defense fund. I like to joke around, but Hovind and his goons are on my shit list. I mean, I talk to Cindy pretty regularly. We used to have a lot more of a friendly relationship. You can also see my debate with Cindy on this channel. If someone wants to drop a link to that. Me and Cindy had a debate on Amy Newman's channel, and I published it on here. But we're friends on Facebook. Unfortunately, I'm spend most of my time arguing with her now because she posts a lot of MAGA stuff. She's very MAGA. So, but yeah, I did talk to her through her divorce and stuff. We became friends. We were both going through our divorces at the same time, so it was serendipitous that we met during that time, and we bonded over that. Bonded over having an emotionally abusive ex spouse who was manipulative and tried to manipulate a hyper-religious community against us, because both Kent Hovind and his little compound and my ex and her religious family, it was all kind of correlated, so we bonded over that. So we're still friends. I just talked to her on Thanksgiving, and yeah, it was arguing about trans stuff, but I also told her Happy Thanksgiving. But like I said, I can disagree with people about certain aspects of society without cutting them completely out of my life. But I don't feel like I have to tolerate like it directed at me. So once it starts being directed at me, then it becomes a problem. But as long as we can discuss it in the abstract, I'm okay with that to a certain extent. It's my responsibility to step back from the conversation if I can't deal with it at that time too. So I will step away from it. All right. Once again, I'm going to try to start the week in weird. Man, I have some tangents today, some big long rants. Gracious me. All right, let's go. All right, welcome my beauties and bees to our week in weird, where the polls have spoken, and we're talking about cursed swords. And I'm sorry I used the European sword here when today's swords. We're actually going to start with katanas. I'll probably do another cursed swords, and I'll probably be more specific on the topic next time. But the ones I found the most interesting were the Japanese katanas, so we're doing katanas today. But I will do another cursed swords at some point, and we'll talk about Viking swords or European swords in general. I'll look and see what I have. I know there's enough Viking swords alone, between myth and history, to do a whole video just on those. So I may do Viking swords, and then maybe do swords from the UK. We have some of the ones that Western society knows the most, like Excalibur and stuff. But we are doing katanas as our cursed swords today. But if you want to participate in picking what we cover on the show, you come out here, and these three, the metaphysics of the magic lantern, the crystalline lithomancy, and the mystic flowers, are all going to be up on the poll this week, and plus there'll be a new edition. So you got to go out there and check it out. Go out there and vote. Right? You can vote on CrypticCorner too while you're there. Just go to the community page. Go to your community page, and it'll probably pop up in there as you scroll through. Yes, Umami, I'm absolutely stoked about doing the Magic Lantern video. I think it got less votes this week because people don't realize what it is. This was the precursor for projectors, but it used firelight behind it, and there was like a scroll thing that ran by, and it would project it on the wall. A scroll of really, really, really thin, like paper, like what they used, the kind that they would sometimes use on the projector. You have to be as old as I am to remember that. Back when I was in school, they had a projector, an overhead projector, and there was really thin paper that you could lay on there, and you could they'd draw with these kind of like waxy crayons that left like a see-through, and it would it would project that up on the wall. So it was kind of like that material run through with the candle and mirrors inside, projecting the light out of a lens, right? And people thought the only way that this could work was with magic. So a lot of folklore rose around it. So if you want to see that, vote here. Here we're going to be doing, it's basically like ancient. I think it's the video I had is like ancient civilizations that used crystal powers to conceal themselves, and then their technology. And then we're gonna do different flowers from mythology, sort of like what we're doing with the cursed swords today. So let's get started. Cursed Katanas. So the channel I chose for this is a pretty cool channel. It's History of Katana, HOK. And he has the Japanese flag with the swords crossed against, and it's like the old Japanese flag too. But it's a cool channel. I like medieval technology. I really like colonial technology. That's my favorite period of time. Is like from the early 16th century to the very, very start of the 18th century, or maybe into the the mid to late 18th century, sometimes depending on the area. But yeah, it's my favorite time of technology. It was such a weird place to be part of, because you had firearms, but they weren't all that great. Bladed stuff was very diverse. Armor was getting kind of like weird and crazy. So in Japan was one of the best places during that colonial era, and you see that in the samurai culture. Like, you see like the Europeans with muskets and what they call the cutlasses or rapiers, and then you have the Japanese samurai with their heavy armor and big badass katanas. Now, people who make katanas became like super famous throughout history, and that's what we're going to look at today. Is I'm not sure. I'm going to let them pronounce the name again before I try to pronounce it. But this guy right here. Actually, let me try to say it first and see if it actually is how I pronounce it. Muramasa. The Cursed Blades of Muramasa. Let's see if that's right. All right. Here we go.
Japan, swordsmiths were almost just as significant. Throughout the history of pre-modern Japan, swordsmiths were almost just as significant as the warriors who wielded the blades they crafted.
All right, audio check. How we sounding, guys? Everything clear and crisp. So I'm gonna go. We're diving in. While you're answering, I'll say I was voting for Crystal Powers because it sounded like a performer's name, but Cursed Swords and Magic Lanterns are definitely more interesting. You think so? Crystal Powers has been up there for, like I was talking about Skunk Ape being on that poll for a long time. Crystal Powers, I think, has been up there for over 2 months as well. Wolfgar is a famous Viking sword. Yeah, we're going to have to do a whole episode on Viking swords. Yeah. I may be a little low. Okay. Let me pump up my GM here. How's that? Do I sound better now? I mean, I'm not my microphone's kind of over too, because I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it, but I don't like to peak. That's the biggest problem. I like when I'm doing the editing on this, and I got the headphones on and it peaks in my ear. It's like, ah! So, yeah.
From the mythical Amakuni to the legendary Masamune, to who we are covering today, a figure who has over time been more seen in a sinister light, that of the renowned swordsmith Muramasa. Although
How'd I do? Muramasa.
Muramasa is regarded as one of the greatest craftsmen of his time, creating fantastic and deadly works of art. There have been popular stories that have emerged regarding not only the strangeness of the man himself, but also a potential awful curse he put on his blades. Today, we explore the fascinating history of the menacing Muramasa swords.
watching this makes me want to put on my Kill Bill cosplay. It's not really good. It's not really doesn't match very well. I have a pair of stretchy yellow bell bottoms and a yellow hoodie that I can wear, and I look like I'm the bride from Kill Bill. Watching this about katanas and thinking about katanas, yeah. And I think it's because Quentin Tarantino grew up with that sort of Seven Samurais, Kurosawa film depiction of the katana as the quintessential blade, right? So it's very shtick. And one of my stories I'm writing, there's a character who's sort of an XP of that kind of folklore named Cottontail, and has a sword called Usagi, which means rabbit in Japanese. Did you know that? Because like one of my favorite when I was a kid, a lot of people didn't know this, but like the Ninja Turtles did a crossover with it, but what's his name? Usagi Ono, which is this like samurai rabbit. He's really cool, and he has his own folklore and stuff.
It is not known when the man who would come to be known as Sengo Muramasa would be born. Some evidence points to him living during the 15th century, while others believe that he lived during the early years of the 16th century, while the country was gripped in the Sengoku Jidai, Japan's iconic age of warring states. There are several theories as to how Muramasa became such an accomplished swordsmith, with one being a fantastical fabrication that has spawned some truly interesting legends.
I like that. Jason Jacoby says, Muramasa, this shit was forged out of meteorite iron by a fucking demon. Yeah. I still have my magic crystals from my pagan days. They make my brain happy. Oh, pretty. Yeah, so I up until recently, I had like rune stones and crystals and all sorts of stuff that I would hold on to that would help me feel better. Like I was saying earlier in the show, if I had like a bad call while I was at work, I could hold on to it. I'd feel like I just like envision it like charging me with positive energy to keep things positive. So I get it. It's all it's self-induced psychodrama. I understand my monkey brain and my primitive need to ascribe causal effect to things that are radicals in the greater web of the universe. To pretend I have control over it, convince my brain I have some kind of control over it, when it's really just controlling myself and how I handle things.
In this version of Muramasa's origin, he is believed to have instead lived back during the time.
And to be clear, no, I don't tell myself you're tricking yourself. When I'm doing it, that defeats the purpose. It's the same as reading like a tarot deck, because you will interpret what you want out of what you're reading there. Or if you even flipping a coin, if you're disappointed with what comes up, then you know what you wanted the whole time.
Time of the great craftsman Masamune, who lived throughout the late 1200s and early 1300s. These stories paint Muramasa as a disciple and perhaps even longtime rival of Masamune. However, based on the designs of Muramasa's blades and the age of the metal used, it is generally agreed upon that Muramasa lived much, much later, as I have earlier stated. The most believable origin story is that Muramasa had apprenticed under a notable Kyoto craftsman by the name of Heianjo Nakayoshi, who lived during the Muramachi period. Stories say that Muramasa...
Using lots of what period? I guess I should put up the captions and see.
Nakayoshi, who lived during the Muramachi period. Stories say that Muramasa himself was somewhat of an erratic figure, perhaps even wild and crazed at times, while others simply point to his intensely driven nature, where the only thing that could hold his focus was his incessant work at crafting swords with great care and perfection. During this time,
I still like using a Ouija board because it'll let me look inside my brain, but I cannot, while I'm doing it, say that I'm just looking inside my brain. I need to prime myself to be able to do it, right? That's what people like true believers don't get. They're like, oh, you just want to naysay everything. It's like, no, I just understand my psychology as a human. Just like, and I'll correlate it to what we're watching now. Like someone wielding a sword that they believe has enchanted to give them like power, like added oomph. Hell yeah.
Shoulder-bladed weapons are being used more widely among many samurai and foot soldiers. It is here in the Muromachi period we see the rise of such blades as the katana and wakizashi. These were the types of weapons that Muramasa excelled at crafting, forging his own intricate style, which not only is said to have drawn inspiration from his supposed master Nagayoshi, but is also said to have broken some norms. One was the Muramasa Ba, the unusual wave style.
Yes, a flared base is important for any kind of crystal that you're going to use for insertion. Insertion. What the hell's insertion? For insertion. Henry wants to say hi. Do you want to see Henry? I bet everybody wants to see Henry. We're going to get Henry real quick. Mr. Henry! Mr. Henry! Hey, come here. People want to see you. Come here. Come here, Bubby. Look who it is. Oh, look who's here to see us. It's Mr. Henry. I'm such a good boy. I'm such a good boy. Everybody loves Henry. They say him go, ah, woo, out there. Yes. Everybody loves a good puppers. Aw. Come on. All right. I got more show to do. Come on. Come on. Come on. Henry. Oh. So, yay, Henry.
Style of his blades hamon, which resembled a sea of clouds. Another was the Muramasa Nakago, the shape of the tongue, which often for Muramasa blades resembled that of the underside of a fish. Now, although Muramasa only lived for a time...
So he made some sexy hilts, is what I understand. Were his blades great, or were his hilts just super sexy? That's the question.
Swords of his style would continue to be produced long after his death. You see, Muramasa would go on to establish a sword school of his own, located in Ise province. It was here many of his disciples continued his legacy by crafting more fine swords in his style. Because these blades were made in his style and thus marked with his name, it appears that they too can be considered Muramasa swords. However, he and his...
How do you distinguish whether it was made by Muramasa or whether it was made by one of his students? How do we know that now in modern times? That's a good question, right?
Schools' swords, or their style, did not gain popularity overnight. Rather, they slowly became more and more sought after. There was certainly something to be said about the quality of his blades. In an era where swords were being made by the hundreds if not thousands to be used in Japan's ceaseless wars, something seems to have stood out about Muramasa.
I'll try to make time to show it for Henry to visit every Saturday if he's available. And Hell's Bell said, I just want to read this because they put thought into their comment here. It says, like I have said, it is psychologically spiritual, a magical spiritual experience in the brain, and making your own meaning. It's helpful. Yeah, it helps your brains. That's the way your brain's wired. So if you tap into those sections of your brain to help you navigate life. Ember says she also keeps a small armory in her storage unit. You're going to seize the means of production. We're not doing that here. Hey, don't discuss that in the side chat now. Or it could be, or it could get lost, like Charlie and Grandpa getting sucked up into the ceiling fan at Willy Wonka. Sure. Although as far as Japanese weapons, I love the Tsubo the most. Yep, and then we have people fanboy and fangirl over Henry. Here's a video about open label placebo with Jenna Mayu. This is what Bree was talking about, knowing that the crystals don't have magical power and that it's psychological effect, but leaning into it. Exactly. Master crafters had a signet of sorts that identified them. Yeah. Okay. So there'd be like a special mark on the sword.
Blades in particular. There is a legend, which often gets tied to the earlier story of him training under Masamune, but still a legend nonetheless, of a time in which Muramasa, wishing to showcase the magnificence of his blades, dipped a sword into a pool of water. It was here where leaves that were floating alongside it in the pool began to be attracted to the sword, and soon willingly began to cut themselves apart along its edge, all on their own. Such a story is truly miraculous, but it obviously drives the imagination, as warriors would have been in awe of such a weapon. Muramasa swords ended up in the hands of countless warriors who took them off to battle, using his blades to slay as they did. And this is where even more myths of his swords begin to emerge. However, these are not tales of wonder, but instead tales of gruesomeness. Now, before we get into the reality of the situation, I think we should first examine the fantasy. Throughout the Edo period, as we will come to see, many rumors emerged of the sinister nature of...
And Edo is the old name for Tokyo. Basically, throughout the medieval and colonial era, or I guess imperial era. Trying to think of a way to describe it that time frame. But yeah, Edo was the name of Tokyo.
Muramasa swords, even going so far as to say that Muramasa had conducted demonic rituals to imbue his blades with evil, bloodthirsty spirits. Warriors who...
Yeah, if you were a weapons craftsman, it would be beneficial to your brand to claim that your swords had supernatural abilities, right? When you're, yeah.
Wielding Muramasa were said to feel a strange calling from their sword, begging them to shed blood. Some even came to say that the sword, when unsheathed, could not be resheathed without first spilling blood. During the age of war, this thirst was easily enough quenched through fighting through incessant battles. Yet it was also speculated that the curse of these swords also extended to the warriors who wielded them, making them perhaps as crazed as Muramasa was said to be himself, seeking endlessly to bathe their swords in the blood of the slain. And if no one was there to be slain, the sword must be then used on oneself to still draw.
And thus, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for in Sabukai?
Blood. These stories are all very outlandish, and they definitely arose for an interesting reason, as we will come to see. Because, truth be told, there was indeed a number of mysterious incidents involving Muramasa swords that would...
So that's the thing. Like, it's weird to say you can't show your feet. Like, what if I was doing a video outdoors and I was wearing sandals or I was barefoot? You know, it's so silly. I get that they don't want me to, like, sit here and, like, shove my feet up in the camera the whole time. Because that can be, like, fetish content. I think I should be able to. I make a lot of feet content, actually. Surprisingly.
Happened to the family of none other than Tokugawa Ieyasu, Japan's third great unifier and the first shogun of the Tokugawa shogunate. It began with Ieyasu's grandfather, Matsudaira Kiyoyasu, a competent military leader who was betrayed and killed by one of his retainers, Abe Masatoyo, who supposedly used a Muramasa blade in the attack. Later, Kiyoyasu's son.
And John, I'm with you on that. I did I did the atheist circuit. I did the blah, 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 atheist, blah, 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 atheist that, yeah. And blah, 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 presuppositionalism, blah, 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 prime mover, blah, 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 problem of evil, Kalam cosmological, chicken and the egg. I've been there. I've been down that path already. No, thank you. We don't do that here. But I do love. I do still have a soft spot for tackling young Earth creationism and evolution denial. I do still have a soft spot for that, but I've taken a long break from doing it.
Ieyasu's own father, Matsudaira Hirotara, was wounded during an assassination attempt, supposedly by another Muramasa blade. Finally, a Muramasa sword would be used on Tokugawa Ieyasu's son, Matsudaira Nobuyasu, who was sadly ordered to commit seppuku under fear of treason.
That's the word I was looking for, seppuku. Thank you. Will you throw yourself on your sword if you lose a fight? According to Google, Japanese sword makers were identified by the signature, I'm guessing that's just me, a name engraved on the tang, Nakago, which is part of the blade that goes into the handle. So you have to dissect it to see if it's authentic. Other identifying features on the tang include the maker's title, location, and the location of the workshop and date of manufacturer. BMM gives great hugs. Everyone should try if they get a chance.
Upon his ritual disembowelment, the sword used by the Kaishakunin, a person who was tasked with lopping off Nobuyasu's head after his belly was cut, was discovered to indeed have been a Muramasa. This marked 3 generations of Ieyasu's family to be affected by Muramasa blades. Yet that did not stop Ieyasu himself from acquiring his own Muramasa sword. This Muramasa that Ieyasu possessed ended up being passed down to each generation of the Tokugawa family, and today is in the possession of the Tokugawa Art Museum in Nagoya.
If you all want to buy me a Muramasa sword, I think I'm probably going to need that when I go to Florida and start hunting skunk apes. So I don't think I can properly deal with a skunk ape without a Muramasa blade. Helen, do you have a Muramasa blade? I can't even imagine living in Florida. I have Helen and Sumami, y'all are both in Florida. How you even survive down there without a handy Muramasa blade just in day-to-day life?
Oh yeah. This begs the question though, if the swords were indeed believed to be cursed, then why would Ieyasu wish to own one himself? The blood of 3 generations of his family had been spilled by Muramasa blades. Would it not be a bit foreboding to own one himself? To be completely honest, I don't actually think Ieyasu ever believed in that type of super...
I wouldn't just feel like it's okay for me to own the sword. I would feel obligated to have a Muramasa blade if my whole family had been killed by them, right? That seems to just go without saying at this point. Oh, thank you so much for the super chat. It sucks that most were destroyed after World War II. Oh no, that's terrible. Terrible news. Did I miss a super chat way back up? I did. Let's see. We'll scroll back up. Screw Matt Powell was used as member for 31 months. Jason Jacoby. Yes, go Jason. Thank you so much for giving us so much of your time. Much love from the Hive. Anybody else? I just don't want to miss anything. Oh, Lil did too. Oh my gosh, I missed a $5 super chat. Lil, I'm so sorry. I missed that. I get to go in and, yeah. Who doesn't have... Yeah, I did read that. Oh my goodness, I didn't heart it though. I did do that. But thank you so much for your support. Yeah, any support you can throw my way is much appreciated. Much love. Thank you so much for any time that you give my channel, any views that you give me, any donations or chats that you shoot out to me. Yeah, any of that. Let's see. That's true, Seth. I've only gotten my hands on one genuine katana in my life so far. But taking the handle off really is how one authenticates them. I think that how you know you evolve. Pre-sup apologetics are not for me anymore. I can argue them. To me, God existing is boring. I want my brain juices to flow. I want to understand how to control my psychology, right? To make my world better, and if I can in any way, I'll also make the world better for everybody else too. But I don't know how to do that. So seriously though, don't leave blood on the blade because it causes hell or rust. Yeah. You're not like replacing the iron in that. There was a story by Tolkien about a sword that drank blood. Turgon Turambar wielded it. What was it called? Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Is it Gurthing? Yeah, but it's based on there's old Viking legends, old Northern European legends and stuff about blood drinking swords too. So it's very deep, definitely deeper than Tolkien. I just like Tolkien's fiction, but yeah, and it looks like it transcends cultures, which makes me wonder if like Neolithic people, if they had like stone weapons that were supposed to be cursed or enchanted, if they were made out of a certain type of stone.
Superstition. Ieyasu was a confident, calculated, and rational figure, so it's hard to know if he ever would have bought into such a fear. But on top of that, we also have...
I got another super chat. Thank you so much. Hell's Bells. Thank you so much, Helen. $6.66. Love from the Hive. Appreciate every penny anybody decides to send me. I hate how much YouTube takes of it, but I appreciate every penny. I do want to get to Florida. I will be in Florida at some point. Some point I'll be in Florida. Is this guy holding armor up on like a pike? What's going on? Or is this just a symbol or like a banner? What? Because like here's a banner, right? Like what is this? Like maybe it's his sigil because it matches his armor. It doesn't really match his own armor. The guy holding it, he's wearing like orange and or yellow and black, like black. Well, it kind of looks like a helmet too. There's a nose. Yeah, it's a helmet. Is this? Oh, is he holding this guy's helmet for him? So this is his banner man, and this is his guy that holds his helmet for him, so he doesn't have to like spend all day wearing his helmet, riding his horse, and doesn't have to hold his own helmet. Gotcha. There's a blade in Skyrim that gets stronger when it drinks blood. I love that quest line. Kali's sword drinks all the blood so it doesn't hit the ground. That's pretty wicked. I assume it's the horsey guy's helmet. Yeah, there you go. That's why I figured it out. I had Periodolia seeing this as a helmet, and this is a suit of armor. Like these are the shoulder pads. This is the chest piece, and this is like the skirt, right? And this is the helmet up here. That's what I was seeing at first. Now Periodolia, it really plays with all of us.
To wonder if he even knew that all these blades were Muramasa's at the time. Perhaps he even just liked the sword a lot and kept it as a prized status symbol. What Ieyasu thought of the situation we may never know the truth of. However, we do know how future generations of the Tokugawa family would feel towards Muramasa blades. It was not until the reign of the third Tokugawa shogun, Tokugawa Iemitsu, that a reference to the ominous nature of Muramasa swords was recorded. It was here that a history of the Tokugawa family was written, this document being known as the Mikawa Gofudoki. The text referenced the 3 generations of Tokugawa family members who were affected by Muramasa blades and their disastrous nature, for what they had caused and perhaps what they could cause again. It was around this time, most likely due to the publication of this document, that rumors of the cursed nature of Muramasa blades began to appear. This is all likely where the Muramasa swords became famously known as Yoto, cursed or demon swords.
I want a Yodo sword. I don't care. It doesn't have to be Muramasa as long as it's a Yodo sword. You understand that? I wanted to show this real quick because my friend Samantha got this for me. She got me a pink one too. So I have one for Wednesday when we wear pink, and then one for every other day of the week. And I could wear it right now. Ooh, like a freaking satanic princess. That's hot as hell. Look at that. Wear it right at my bang line. No. Isn't that cute? Dollar Tree is where she got this from. She just had it for me in a bag. Give me a friendship bracelet too. You know, lovely doll that I met here in New Mexico.
These rumors may have never actually existed before this point, so really we can see that the idea of Muramasa blades being evil or sinister likely all began right here.
Now I got my shirt all
They did not
bunched up
actually
again.
cause
Keeps bunching
bloodlust,
up
and they did
here.
not drive their
Feels like
owners
beer.
insane. And certainly,
supposed to
Muramasa
be-
himself or future smiths of his line did not
Shit, I missed
imbue.
what he said.
They did not actually cause bloodlust, and they did not drive their owners insane. And certainly, Muramasa himself or future smiths of his line did not imbue their swords with any evil magic. These were all Edo period fantasies, driven by the unsettling reality of what had occurred to Ieyasu's family. But of course, this is also what many came to believe, and what many still to this day like to think about, if for nothing else than an interesting story. However, even if the swords were not truly evil, there was still something to be said about their ominous nature, specifically to those who were more superstitious about this fact. Many figures within the Tokugawa family or wider shogunate administration were becoming increasingly cautious of Muramasa blades, with some perhaps choosing to part ways with their Muramasa swords. It has even been said that some branches of the family may have even banned warriors in their service from owning Muramasa.
Good timing as always, Bug Butt. Yeah, Spider Gwen, if you want to see me like get annoyed with this shirt and take it completely off.
Swords. Others, who may have been either concerned about these rumors or even indifferent to the Tokugawa, were seen to have actually filed off some of the characters of the Muramasa signature on the tang. And by the late 1860s, leading up to the end of the shogunate in the Boshin War, it is also believed that Muramasa swords became powerful anti-Tokugawa symbols, with forgeries even being made to capitalize on this trend. Yet,
Give me, I'll take one of the forgeries even. Send me a forged Muramasa sword. I'm fine with that.
throughout the Edo period, despite what others believed or came to believe about this story of cursed or anti-Tokugawa blades, many members of the Tokugawa themselves still continued to pass down their prized Muramasas, including the one owned by Ieyasu himself. To them, this was not a fear of something disastrous that could happen to them, but rather a reminder, a warning to themselves. Their Muramasa blades transformed into symbols, as indicators of the wars of the past, and how close the country or the family always could be to falling into chaos yet again, simply at the single swing of a sword. So, to answer the age-old question of if Muramasa swords were indeed really cursed, the answer, of course, would seem to be no.
They do show a lot of them with no hilt at all, so it's like they're showing that it's a Muramasa blade. I guess that's why they have them displayed like that, so you can see the Muramasa mark on it. I imagine the hilt's probably like somewhere close by, huh?
However,
because his hilts were supposed to be badass too.
what the swords have become today is certainly far more influential. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell if you enjoyed this video and found it to be most informative.
Oh my gosh, and we're almost out of time. Only like 8 minutes for Breeze Bestiary. That's okay though. As far as Week in Weird goes, what do y'all think? Was this a good one? Do you want to see more cursed blades? I will put more cursed blades up on the list. Wow, it like did a flash of light in my eyes. That was weird. But if you wanna see that, like if you wanna see, what was that flash? That was so weird. Why would it do that when I change? Oh, there it is. Okay, so it was when it switched from one camera to the other. It turns white for a second, and it was really bright. Freaked me out. If you want to see more videos about cursed swords, though, or maybe other cursed things, we've done cursed mask and treasures. What else? What else could be cursed? Drop your suggestions. There has to be content about it for me to cover, though. Like somebody has to believe it and be saying, "Hey, I believe this." That's kind of one of the rules of this show, is we have to have somebody actually saying, "Hey, this is real." And I guess we got around to the end of this one, and the person didn't actually believe in the curse, but that's okay. At least they laid out the reputation, and there are definitely people who do think Muramasa blades are indeed cursed and demonic and drink blood and all that good stuff. So it is what it is. All right, so hey, please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time. Okay, cursed socks, yeah. Or magic underwear. We have those from the Mormons. I could do like the protective underwear. Yeah. I'm going to do a quick intermission. Won't be long because I got to go potty. But we're going to have a short Brace Bestiary because we're almost at the 3-hour mark. And wow, we ran long. I did do the preamble for a full half an hour because I got to talking about socialism. Yeah, the dildo of consequence rarely comes lubricated. Yeah. Don't leave, there's more show to come. There absolutely is. We'll be right back with Brace Bestiary. All right, hello, my beauties and bees, and welcome to Brace Bestiary. Wrapping up today's live from the Hive. We are still going through our list of Maneaters because I'm not breaking from that until I'm done, until I'm satisfied that I've covered every single species. Sometimes I cover a genus, sometimes I cover a family, which is what I did with the hyenas, because, yeah, there's spotted hyenas and striped hyenas. So I thought I'd just wrap them up together, nice little package. There's brown hyenas too. Brown hyenas are more timid around people, less likely to attack. I think because striped hyenas live in India, where there's a huge human population, and because spotted hyenas are one of nature's ultimate predators, and they can do what they want. And I think that if I was a aware creature, I'd probably be a hyena. That would explain a lot. But today we're not talking about any other mammals. We're talking about a lizard. Now, I know a lot of y'all people will probably be like, "Oh, what kind of lizard?" You know exactly what lizard I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Komodo freaking dragon. Now, the Komodo dragon is the most massive lizard in the animal kingdom. However, the Asian water monitor can get as long, if not slightly longer, but significantly lighter, right? So, whether or not a Asian water monitor can kill a person is up for debate. There was we had a cryptid a while ago that was, let me see, was it the Kawak? Let me see. See the playlist. Show it to me. Why are you being like this? I'm not gonna mess with it right now. But there's a cryptid from I think it's the Kawak that is speculated to be an Asian water monitor, which would eat corpses and attack people. And all monitor lizards are venomous, so I mean it could really tear you down. But we're going to look at how to survive video about deadliest Komodo dragon attacks. All right, let's go. And as always, let me know if the audio's okay. Actually, I'm going to check something on that real quick. If we do this, there we go.
Komodo dragons, which look like something out of a Jurassic Park film, are large, fast, and deadly. There have been 24 total attacks on humans, 5 of them being fatal.
A huge difference between lepidosaurs, like Komodo dragons, monitor lizards specifically, and dinosaurs, most theropod dinosaurs, is the Komodo dragons and monitor lizards. Most lizards, in fact, have most carnivorous lizards, anyhow, have laterally compressed heads because they're flattened like a crocodile, whereas a dinosaur, like a theropod, like Carnotaurus there, like T-Rex, like any theropod dinosaur you can think of, their heads tend to be vertically compressed. What's funny about that is that when you get to birds evolving from dinosaurs, their heads are their theropod heads. They're still vertically compressed up at the brain case portion, and then their bills tend to be their beaks or whatever tend to be horizontally compressed, like secondarily. It's like it evolved from this, then to that, and then up into this, and then it went back, and then this evolved on the front of the face instead. Kind of crazy, but that's one of the key features that like annoys me. People talk about Komodo dragons being living dinosaurs.
But even those who survived to tell the tale were left with some seriously nasty wounds. With their curved teeth, venomous bites, sharp claws, and powerful neck muscles, Komodo dragons are known to tear pieces of flesh off their victims and each other.
They're cannibals.
If the initial attack doesn't kill you, the venom they produce will prevent your blood from clotting and could even paralyze you. In other words, if you're not treated in time, death is almost guaranteed. That is exactly what happened.
Probably make you bleed out first because it has anticoagulant properties. Ravens. Yeah, Komodo dragons are venomous, which is overkill. Absolutely.
To an Indonesian fisherman, Muhammad Anwar, who in 2009 docked at Komodo Island for a quick snack of apples. Fortunately for him, one small mistake led to what many believe was an excruciating death at the hands of 2 hungry Komodo dragons. A witness of the incident later told authorities that Anwar was bleeding all over his body. With less than 3,500 Komodo dragons in the wild, it's rare for the endangered species to attack humans. But rangers working on Komodo Island have recently seen an increase. The tourists...
Humans are endurance animals and we're pursuit predators, so use your pursuit predator skills and just keep kind of jogging away from it. Eventually they will lose energy and have to stop. But you have to keep going. You cannot stop. And for the most part, climbing a tree is not going to help much from a Komodo dragon because they anything that you can get up, they can generally climb up too. Just saying.
Children and even rangers have all fallen victim to attacks. But it's not only on Komodo Island where these incidents occur. Has a Komodo dragon ever swallowed a human whole? How long could you survive after one of their venomous bites? And are they really cannibals? Before we tear into this one, make sure to like and subscribe for more amazing survival tips.
You should like and subscribe my channel. Do a review of their survival tips.
On average, Komodo dragons weigh 155 pounds on an empty stomach, but the heaviest ever recorded came in at 366 pounds.
That's a big boy.
The significant weight jump is because they can expand their stomachs, allowing Komodos to eat up to 80% of their body weight in a single meal. That's like if I ate 100 Big Macs in one go. Are Komodo dragons mukbangers? Eating habits aside.
Am I out of touch? What the hell's a mukbanger? I didn't think I was that culturally out of touch, but I've never heard that expression before. Is it regional?
Male Komodos can reach an average length of 10 feet from head to tail.
Maybe it's a sports thing. I don't know if that's a Komodo dragon. I guess it, yeah, with a more juvenile skull, I guess.
And with approximately 60 serrated teeth, they can do a lot of damage quickly.
That was a Komodo dragon. Said a more juvenile.
Their powerful neck muscles are used when they grab hold of prey and thrash it from side to side, ripping flesh off like a hot knife through butter. Based on witness reports, it seems this is exactly...
I do not want to be eaten by a Komodo dragon.
Exactly what happened to Muhammad Anwar. After docking, he began climbing a tree to collect fresh apples. While reaching for the fruit, he slipped and fell to the ground. Within moments, he was ambushed by 2 Komodos. Some sources claim the area Anwar entered was...
This is the second time that picking apples have led to a terrifying encounter with an animal today, in 2 unrelated topics.
...prohibited to humans, and it's clear why that's the case. Teresia Tawa witnessed the attack and needed counseling after seeing what happened to Anwar. She explained that the dragons bit his hands, legs, and worst of all, his neck. The entire scene was brutal and bloody.
Their eyes are so freaky.
He was pronounced dead on arrival at a nearby clinic. Unfortunately, Anwar's attack occurred just 2 years after an 8-year-old boy's life was cut short due to a Komodo attack in a national
group of kids playing on a beach. Holy shit.
Park on the same island.
That's dark.
This would be the first fatal attack on the island in 33 years, but it served as a stark reminder to the world just how dangerous these dragons truly are. A spokesperson for the national park explained that the boy went behind a bush to go to the bathroom and was pounced on by a Komodo. As opportunistic hunters, Komodo dragons tend to sneak up on their prey, and unfortunately, he never saw it coming. It bit his waist and thrashed him from side to side. The boy's uncle, a local fisherman, threw rocks at the aggressive Komodo in hopes it
showed scene from it, and it showed Jenny from Forrest Gump throwing rocks.
Release his nephew. Although the tactic worked, sadly, he bled to death just 30 minutes later. His uncle reported he was bitten in half. Although that was not confirmed, he may have just been in total shock seeing his nephew die right before his eyes. And even then, the dragon wouldn't have been able to eat half of the boy's body in one go. It would have to eat away at it slowly, so they definitely can't.
It's mukbangers? Or mukbangers? Is that how you pronounce it?
Can't swallow a human whole, even with a size advantage on us.
Well, that's a relief.
Anacondas, on the other hand, well, that's a story for another episode. The attack was a shock to locals, since 1,200 live among
anacondas? We haven't. I don't think anacondas have ever eaten anybody, though. Okay, we'll have to talk about. We'll add it to the list.
The Komodos.
So many man-eaters, so little time.
And the community went over 3 decades without any fatal incidents. Although they were known to wander into residential areas,
that is not a Komodo. That was a Asian water monitor.
A lot of them killing.
I know, because I used that in a short.
A human wasn't a huge concern. They had coexisted with them for so long, with victims only sustaining minor injuries. Trying to understand the reasoning for the attack, some rangers believed a lack of food was the cause. It was during the dry season, after all. A park ranger who survived a Komodo attack quickly learned what these animals can do when food is scarce. In 2019, the same year Anwar fell victim to Komodo dragons, Mei Yen, a park ranger, was also attacked in his office. Working on Rincha Island,
that'd be crazy. You're in your office and all of a sudden a dragon walks in.
One of 3 islands making up Komodo National Park, Mei Yen went into his office as he did every day for nearly a year. Moments after sitting at his desk, he noticed a Komodo dragon right by his feet. Wearing nothing but sandals and fearful of the dragon's vicious bite, Mei Yen slowly moved his leg away. Unfortunately for him, this caught the attention of the hungry animal, who quickly attacked. The dragon bit into his leg with a crunch. Mei Yen had to act fast. He stepped on the dragon's neck with his other foot in hopes it would let go. Determined to fill its stomach, the Komodo continued biting. In desperation, Mei Yen tried to pry open its mouth. And although he was able to
I was just pronouncing it like the guy pronounced it in the video. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's not a word I'm familiar with.
free, the animal managed to rip some flesh off of Mei Yen's hand as well. During the attack, a coworker heard Mei Yen scream for help and quickly came to his aid while alerting others.
That's some cocaine beer.
No one was expecting what would ensue following the initial attack. With the ability to smell blood from almost 6 miles away, 7 other nearby Komodos headed toward the injured ranger. Thankfully, another ranger was able to fend off the new visitors with a large stick. This allowed the others to help Mei Yen get to a local hospital.
They get horny for blood. They're like...
boat to receive the medical attention he desperately needed. But his injuries were too severe to treat there. He was flown to Bali, where he underwent 6 hours of surgery and received 55 stitches. After a week-long stay, Mei Yen was sent back to Flores Island, where he spent another 6 months in hospital recovering. So how did the Komodo get into his office in the first place? Well, as it turns out, a cleaner accidentally left the door open overnight. To this day, Mei Yen still has trauma from the incident and doesn't like talking about the attack that nearly killed him. He still works as a ranger, but only indoors, where, statistically speaking, there shouldn't be any Komodos. Now, hopefully, you'll never find yourself being attacked by a Komodo dragon.
They're so powerful.
But if you are, though, these tips may help save your life. First,
you'll get some tips to save your life.
Want to be aware of your surroundings. If you can spot a Komodo before it sneaks up on you, you're already increasing your chances of survival.
Look at those freaking shoulders. Just sweeping across there.
Out of its way and get to safety. Unfortunately, you won't always see them before it's too late, and if that's the case, you'll want to do everything you can to fight back. Kick it, step on it, throw things at it, whatever it takes to get it to release its vicious bite, as time is now of the essence. Mayan survived his attack due to quick thinking, which means you can't.
Probably he also survived because he was in an office, not out in the wilderness, too. It's easier to survive an attack when you're already someplace where you can get transported easily to medical assistance. When you're out in the middle of nowhere, though, on a beach, it's only accessible by, like, boats, and you got there in an outrigger.
And two. Once free, get to safety and seek medical attention immediately. The quicker you treat your wounds, the more likely you'll survive. Although some sources claim that a Komodo's teeth can carry dozens of different types of bacteria, which could lead to sepsis, this theory has been debunked in a journal by the National Academy of Sciences. Their venom, which is released from glands in their lower jaw, will inject toxic proteins into your system. These proteins will lower your blood pressure and prevent your blood from clotting. It can also cause muscle paralysis, hypothermia, and shock if not treated in time. So, with all that being said, immediate medical attention is your best bet if you'd like to survive a Komodo attack. And the scary part? Komodo dragons are known to track down wounded prey. If that happens to you
over miles, too, that forked tongue is really good at keeping tabs on you and what you're doing.
They'll keep biting you until you're no longer moving. So the odds truly aren't in your favor. Given their ability to run up to
I read that in the Chris Farley voice, Aunt Jer. Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers hug. Yeah. He's a maniac on the floor.
Miles per hour, you'll want to move fast, if you can at all, before others come to join the feast. With a carnivorous diet consisting of everything from mice to buffalo, they're even known.
That was not a Komodo dragon, even that mouse.
Known for feasting on their own babies if they're hungry enough.
I wouldn't call that a baby either. That was like a kid.
Thank goodness my parents aren't cannibals. If you haven't learned it by now, stay away from these beasts when they're hungry. The good news is, encountering a Komodo dragon isn't always necessarily a death sentence. Just ask the 5 scuba divers who found themselves stranded on an island with them. In 2008, a group of adventurous tourists were swept up by the strong currents of the Flores region while out for a dive. After surviving shark-infested waters for 12 hours, they found their way onto Rincha Island, nearly 25 miles from where they started. Tired, hungry, and dehydrated, the group thought they were on a deserted island and started scavenging for food. Little did they know, they had washed up on one of the world's only natural habitats for Komodo dragons.
We got lucky.
It's believed...
Like, imagine if that happened to somebody, like, before they knew about Komodo dragons, right? Like a shipwreck or something in the South Pacific in, like, you know, the 1700s or 1600s or something, right? And you wash up on this island off, or just since the South Pacific, and in the Indian Ocean, the Timor Sea, and you wash up on an island, and then there's these gigantic fucking lizards wandering around everywhere. Holy shit, that's gonna throw your brain for a loop.
Approximately 1,300 dragons live on the island, and it was only a matter of time before one spotted the newcomers. And let's just say it wasn't the warmest of welcomes. A Komodo immediately tried to attack one of the divers, Helena, with the group doing whatever they could to fend it off. She swung her diving belt at the aggressive reptile, and sure enough, it bit a chunk out of it. Helena later explained how it was trying to bite at her feet and attempted to attack 3 times before it finally fled, likely because the other members of the group were throwing rocks at its head.
I'm definitely bringing Hulks with me if I have to go to the Komodo Islands.
Thankfully, the divers survived 2 days and nights by eating raw shellfish, all while signaling for help. It was their orange emergency float that caught the eye of the rescue crew looking for them. They were all taken to a hospital on Flores Island and treated for dehydration and minor cuts, and celebrated their brush with death at a local bar. Yeah, I'd probably want a nice refreshing cocktail or two after that ordeal. While most of these attacks happened at Komodo National Park, there are over 50 zoos worldwide that keep Komodos in captivity, and one of them in Hollywood became famous for the wrong reasons. In 2001, while on a private tour of Hollywood's Los Angeles Zoo with his then wife, actress Sharon Stone, Phil Bronstein was happily taking photos of the animals. Good old Uncle Phil. But it was the Komodo dragon that particularly caught his attention. After being invited into the reptile's cage, a common occurrence for VIP guests, the zookeeper advised Phil to remove his white shoes and socks to prevent the dragon from mistaking them for a white rat, which was part of its diet. Wow, okay. That's a red flag if I've ever heard one.
But if removing your white shoes and white socks reveals your white feet, doesn't really help. So they need to like come up with an alternative to that. They need to have like boots on hand for people if they're going to have them take off their shoes and socks.
As Bronstein moved in to snap a pic with the captive lizard, it lunged at his foot and nearly bit his big toe. There are conflicting reports as to how Bronstein got out. He claims he had to pry open the dragon's mouth and escape through the feeding door while the zookeeper distracted it.
Yeah, right.
Regardless of how Bronstein managed to escape, he had to undergo surgery on his foot to reattach severed tendons and rebuild his big toe. Despite his injuries, he chose not to press charges against the zoo. I'm also happy to report that the Komodo was okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that there probably be a requirement to sign waivers. We had to sign waivers to go into the little aquarium touch tank in El Paso. And we got to like pet their wallaby, and they had a mara and stuff, and obviously pet the stingrays, but yeah.
Following the incident, maybe this should be a lesson for all not to get too close to wild animals, even those in captivity. There are less than 3,500 Komodo dragons alive, mainly due to habitat loss, climate change, and poaching. Unfortunately, locals on Flores Island have been known to burn the dragon's natural habitat to make room for land developments. And poachers regularly hunt the world's largest lizard for...
Could you imagine if you released a bunch of Komodo dragons into Mar-a-Lago? That'd be scary, wouldn't it? Poor oligarchs running out into the swamp to escape.
Profit. Poaching has become a serious problem for the Komodo dragon population, with merchants selling them for between $3,500 and $35,000, depending on their size and whether they're dead or alive. While tourism does help sustain Komodo National Park, it is also seen as an issue. Tourists are known to feed the wild reptiles, which can disrupt their mating behavior.
Don't do that.
Even though females can give...
If you want to disrupt my mating behavior, go to, and then Bugbot drops the link. I wish I could voice train it.
Birth without the need of their male counterparts, thanks to a process called parthenogenesis. This only allows them to give birth to males, and this can hinder their population. Rising sea levels and habitat destruction to make way for agriculture are expected to reduce their natural habitat by 30% over the next 45 years. And these guys, as scary as they are, play a significant role in our ecosystem. As apex predators, they keep things in check and ensure that everything from buffalo to rodents don't overpopulate. They also eat carcasses, which can help reduce the spread of disease. So if you spot a Komodo in the wild...
The fun thing about humans is we are actually scavengers who eat carcasses. Very few of us hunt. Right? We eat like carcasses. We eat dead things. Stuff that's already dead. Yeah. Alright. Is that the right one? I hope it was.
Just let it be. Odds are it can do some serious damage to you, but their bites are nothing compared to an alligator. Just ask Florida resident Juan Carlos Laverde, who...
Alright, so that was Komodo dragons and their attacks on people. Thank you for dropping that link, Aunt Jer. Yeah, and Ninjester, this is why you bring a walking stick into nature. You always want to be able to be prepared to fight wildlife, because because we're not built to fight it naturally. Why is that spazzing out? Hold on, I'm gonna refresh that. That was spazzing. There we go. All right. Have you ever tried eating a live deer? No, I've never. I have been hunting. I have been deer hunting. I've never been the one to pull the trigger though. It's just not in my nature. For better or worse, I'd be. If I have somebody to hunt for me, I'll eat meat. But like I couldn't kill stuff to sustain myself on meat. Maybe fish. I don't like fish. I don't like fishing, but I like to eat fresh fish, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm going to send you guys over to Brentley, so stick around after I hit the end button so that you get over there and I get praise for sending a large audience, okay? All right. Now you have to do chores. Okay. Do your chores, dear. That's fine. All right. So I'm going to wrap things up here. That's been Bree's Bestiary. This has been live from the Hive. We covered Skunk Ape, and then we covered Cursed Katanas, and then we had Komodo dragons. And there's my cleavage. If you missed it today, because this shirt won't stay right. So, please remember to be kind, take care, and we'll see you next time.